trickling. They're just trying to get in, but they're not going to happen. And Boston Uprising. Really long, drawn-out fight, Hex. One at a time, dying.
It's a game of inches and a game of seconds right there. You saw Kellex in there using Lucio's ability to ride up walls, try to stall up the point and just exist. He dies right before AimGod is able to get out there with Transcendence and heal him up. If Kellex lives, then he's able to move people around. Might be a different final fight, but a good catch there. Second earlier from AimGod, Kellex probably lives. We might just still be seeing a fight on full Skylast right now.
Good catch from our observers there as well, our in-game directors, giving us Lexer's perspective. That key stun, canceling out the shatter from fusions, really putting a stick in the spokes. So Boston now, they're going to be the ones flipping with less time on the clock. They're going to be starting off on offense. So the onus is on them now to take progress on this first point. Houston Outlaws on the defense should be feeling pretty comfortable. 3 minutes in the bank for them. They're looking good.
Sometimes there's an advantage that doesn't really mean a whole lot, like a minute 14 to a minute 10. No one really cares about the seconds, but 2 minutes is a really big deal. Boston has to be feeling some pressure right now because with only a minute on the clock, really only have one, maybe two good fights at point A.
Squeak a second, but it's going to be chaotic. You're just going to have to get a little lucky there.
You're almost going to have to win without ultimates because generally ultimates take a minute or so, minute plus to charge.
This will be getting into that overtime with, but we'll see. Boston now moving forward, sticking to their guns, not really changing up the strategy. More of the same from them. Houston side of things, similar approach as well. Fusion's really sticking to that Rhine. We have move on to Winston, so a little bit more mobility on Muma's side. He'll be able to dart in and out, but Boston once again taking that path above the locker room. High ground is theirs. They're going to be able to walk off the balcony if they'd like. Kellex kind of keeping an eye on things. But 40 seconds on the clock now, Hex.
Now they only really have one fight here. They're going to have to commit. They're going to have to go for it. The first kill on either side is going to be so important.
Man, Muma nearly got punished there. He dropped so low, but excellent support from his healers to get him topped up again to dodge it. And he will survive, but not the same for Rockness. Note the assassin removes the healer, and now Link's just going to feel the heat. Trying to get the punish on AimGod, trying to trade it out, but AimGod getting great support as well. He will survive, and Boston Uprising now looking great. All of the kills going their way, and just like that, they had a minute to get it done. They don't even need the minute, Hex. They get it done before that.
An absolutely brilliant play by Note. It's so much in Overwatch is about read and react. He reads that Raucus is alone on the high ground momentarily while Poink is off doing something else, finds that single target, eliminates him. He isolated the healing target, able to take him out. Nice play from Note, and now they get an extension on the clock. Not much though, probably only one chance at last.
Got one chance, it's going to be one fight. But they do have an edge. They have ultimates online as well. The rally already getting used by Blase, but AimGod and Kellex have both got their ultimates. Everything, this is just going to be a big, chaotic ult fiesta. All the teams, all the tools, everything getting thrown into this. Who's going to come out on top? Who is going to flinch first? Rockness picking it off with a kill on Fusion. This is going to help things here for Boston. No kill with the self-destruct. Nope, going to throw in one of his own though. And there it is. Uma is out of it. Quick reds though for him. He should be able to find his way back in here, but Boston still finding the kills. Not giving up just yet.
Notice on the heavy carry, but Fusions comes back in. He died early in the fight, and now he's back. They're swinging away, trying to get as much progress as possible. And now 33. Can they get 66?
Oh, it's looking
Not
good.
quite.
It's looking likely they're going to get 66. They could pick up all three right now. This is unreal. Boston, they might pick up 4 points. It's looking good. So likely now as they're getting all of the kills. 6 alive, and Boston somehow starting off their offensive push with a minute finish to pick up both points versus the Houston Outlaws.
With a minute and a prayer, and sometimes when it is down to your last fight, players can play a little bit looser. You're not worried about just overarching strategy. I got ult, I'm going to use ult. Right? It's
Throw it in there.
exactly what happens. Fusion died early in that everything you need defensively, has those giant plays, and I've talked about this before. If you give me a diva that I know exactly what they're going to do all the time, I take it every day of the week. I want consistency out of my diva play, and no one's been better than them.
Lynxer like this. They're probably not going to give him a target to work with, but it would be fun to see some Widow play out of him. We did talk a bit about it at the beginning. One of the best damage dealers in the league, but he will be relegated to Nikita. They're sticking to their guns here. Houston Outlaws and Boston both. Houston have a bit more time to work. 3 minutes. They shouldn't be feeling the pressure quite as much. They're running back to spawn now after getting the scout, so perhaps they've got a back pocket. Look at the cold seal changes. Excellent. We will get Lynxer on the Widow, and Dante's going for the skies. He's on the
and then they're extremely exposed to what Dante shoots from the sky and Lynxer as well.
Format's having a tough time of it right now, though. Only at 29% for his ult, so it's a slow burn on his side of things. Lynxer, I like it. Clever angle. He reaps the rewards. Headshot on Axiom to kick things off. And the follow-up on note. There we go. You can look for the combos where you can just get people in the face. Lynxer doing work right now. Newton doesn't know which way to face. He's gone. Lynxer once again with the help of Dante. Houston Outlaws will pick up the first point.
It's so impressive Lynxer's able to start hitting those shots right away because a lot of Widowmaker players need warm-up. It's a very precise mechanical hero. If you're not hitting headshots, you're almost doing nothing. It's just difficult to do. He's been on Brigida, does not require the same level of finesse, and he comes in cold, but ends up coming in hot.
That was the big one to start. But again, with the mind games, where am I going to be now? They don't know where I'm set up, and it works perfectly for them. And now we're going to start having those ults online. Could have the combo, could have that EMP barrage. Dante's got the barrage coming up as well.
With only 1 minute and 15 seconds, I think you just wait for cool mats to get EMP. You have to wait for it. That's your ace strategy. That's why you're running this composition. EMP, use it with something else, and hopefully win the point. But they don't have a ton of time.
Well, Kellex gets hunted down by Lynxer in the back line. Lynxer's gone for the aggressive play with Tracer. And there it is. The EMP gets thrown in immediately, as well as Dante's barrage. They are finding the kills. The question is it enough? 2 tanks, 2 supports still alive for Boston. They're going to be tough to kill quickly. Got Kellex is dancing around on the point right now, trying to keep Note alive. Not going to happen. Self-destruct thrown out, though. That's going to make things a little frustrating here for Houston. They're going to have to back off.
Self-destruct was not intended to kill anyone. It was just that he needed a new, fresh mech call down. And with Fusion's getting a kill, Note getting a kill, it's back to the drawing board for the Houston Outlaws. They've got Pulse Bomb to work with. Now, this has to be the best Pulse Bomb of Overwatch League history. He's got to hit a support in the backline and hope that support walks to his other support, maybe take down some tanks as well.
Well, we're seeing the changes now. They have to go through with it because they need to ferry up back to the point as quickly as possible. Lynxer needs to stay alive at all costs. He's going to be the one touching the point to buy time for his team to get into position. They're running back as quickly as possible. 3 seconds on the clock now and the fight begins. And already Lynxer just going for it. Pulse Bomb not going to connect. Now they have nothing really to work with on the ult front. Instead, it's Boston Uprising, not wasting any time, committing the sound barrier, taking advantage of these ultimates that they do have. And now Aim God's got the trance as well. It's going to be so difficult to kill off anybody on Boston. Houston Outlaws, they're on the edge of losing it, Hex.
These Uprising supports have done such a great job of keeping each other alive and using the abilities at the right time. You use Sound Barrier to make sure your Zenyatta stays alive. He stays alive, he's going to have Transcendence if you need it. The support play for the backline of the Uprising has been great.
Excellent work from Boston. They kept it together until the end. We're going to take a break and see if they're going to be able to win the series on the final map.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. and by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
What's up, guys? Malik here, back at it again, and I want to make sure those of you at home go get your Twitch All Access Pass for 2019. Now, just like last year, there's a ton of great stuff that you won't want to miss. You'll get access to the command center that lets you watch from any player POV during every match. It also comes with 200 Overwatch League tokens, so you can rep your favorite teams in the game, and you'll also get 20% off any new merch on the Gear Store website. And the best part, it's all only 15 bucks. Thing basically pays for itself. So just head on over to twitch.tv/Overwatch League and get your 2019 All Access Pass today.
Welcome back from the break, everybody. Boston Uprising currently in the lead, 2-1 over the Houston Outlaws. An excellent performance from them on Volskaya, the last map. They kept it together the whole way, Hex.
It's got to be deja vu all over again for the Houston Outlaws fans. They started off so strong. They looked absolutely dominant on their first map, but Boston finds a way, kind of slug it along. I think that's the personality of the team right now. We'll get things done as a unit, not giant flashy plays. Everybody on Boston's playing pretty well.
So there we have it, Dorado, potentially the final map in this series. These are best of 5 series, so we're looking for the first team to claim victory on 3 maps. And right now, Boston, they're looking very good indeed.
Houston has to win this one, otherwise the series is over, and they start their season 0-2. Some map wins, but just shaky, inconsistent play. The strategy works really well onto Volskaya last, but the problem with that strategy is once it works, your ultimate abilities as damage dealers are not as good as the other team's ultimate abilities. Tank abilities, like Graviton Surge, like Earth Shatter, are fight-defining abilities. So you've got a Pulse Bomb, which, you've got Infrasight. They don't
That
really
was
do
kind of
much.
a pulse bomb from Blizzard at the end.
A little bit.
You built it up, Hex. Could it be the caster curse?
Probably. It's probably my fault. I'm sorry.
Houston fans, you know who to blame right here, this guy. That's it, it's done.
All right, so now we're on Dorado, which is going to be our escort map. You get on the payload, push it all the way to the end, and that's about as simple as it gets, folks. See Boston, no surprises here. Well, a little bit of a surprise. We'll see if they run it on offense. Nope. Boston gonna run the exact same thing they always have. The other side of things, it is the Houston variation of 3 and 3 with Muma on the Winston.
And Linkser on the Ana. So, again, that mechanical aim. This is the most mechanically demanding healers, let's say. In terms of aim, you have to connect the shots to get the heals off, and then you have that sleep dart as well. Force people to take a nap. But Boston Uprising now, making progress, as you can see, on the payload. And it's really, oftentimes we see fights happen around the arch. It's looking like they wanted to go ahead and take a little bit of a poke earlier than that on Houston's side of things.
That's really interesting here. Some of the kind of small interplay is going to be between Linkser and Note. Can Note really deny a lot of the abilities of the Ana? But no matter, as Linkser is the first to fall, the tank line for Boston just dominating, putting on so much pressure.
Wow. They're rolling over him at this point now. Boston, you get once those squishies are out in the open, if the communication is good on Boston's side, I mean, we've seen it all series long. Note, he's an assassin. He's going to dive right in there, jump right on top of him. And I mean, he's in a 2-ton mech. That's not a pleasant thing. So there we go. First point picked up for Boston.
It's Fusions and Note working well together that has impressed me the most. Now, these are tanks that we call vertical tanks, dive tanks, ultra-mobile tanks. They have the ability to get to high ground, then back down, as opposed to, say, a Reinhardt or a Zarya. So you're going to try to utilize that positional advantage your tanks are going to give you.
So we see change of position now for Houston Outlaws. Well, trying to maintain a position on this high ground for as long as possible. Whereas Boston just going to be trying to get that as much progress as possible out of this payload. Aim God has got his ultimate online. Notes does as well. It's on Houston's side, not quite there, but Dante's got that grab. He just came into it, so we'll see how he's going to use it. Fusion's decided to go ahead, play some handball here, just batting them all over the place. And there's the grab, getting thrown out. That's Dante kicking off the fight, looking for the combo with Cool Matt, but Boston Uprising completely dodged that one. They lose Kelix, and Fusions eventually gets hunted down. Same result in the end. They're going to back off and look for the reset.
They nano boost Raucus to make sure he lives through it. Nano boost, a burst heal, and then some invulnerability as well. It was an interesting attempt by Fusions to get to the back line and try to get attention from the other team. He knew he had Primal Rage at the ready so he could heal up to 1,000 at the press of a button. Just didn't work out because Houston was playing very disciplined.
Yes, Houston, good management. And now we're going to have the grab thrown in on Boston's side of things. Blase kicking it off with a kill on Huma. Self-destruct from Note, doesn't even need to find a target. Now they've killed that high-value tank. Cool Matt's going to go down as well. And this is great for Boston. They're going to be able to get some serious push now.
Yeah, the question remains whether Houston's going to start using support ultimates here, not with the deaths that just come out late. Now Houston's in a position, little nap on the cart, still pushing. Kelix is contributing.
It's as good as it gets. You've been on road trips, Hex.
But Houston's in a good position to stabilize on this next fight. They're going to wait. They've got both support ultimates. Now both teams have both of their support ultimates up as well. So now it's just about timing and who gets more value out of those ultimates.
Dante fully charged up. The Angry Bees are ready to swarm. Muma going for the Primal right now to open things up. Definitely looking to try and take the fight to him. Going to land right on top of Axiom. Time to play it safe, though. He's going to back off.
Not a whole lot of work done there. Dante's Graviton is up for the Houston Outlaws. Can be a game-winning kind of ultimate.
And he throws it right into the doorway. Fusion's caught out in the open, cut off from Aim God. He will get overwhelmed. Great focus fire here from the Outlaws. And that's the strong start to the fight. That's exactly what they were looking for here. 2 minutes, 51 seconds on the clock for Boston Uprising. And they're right in front of the second point.
So Boston trying to set up for this next fight. They don't have Transcendence, but they will have a Rally, a Graviton as well.
Yeah.
We'll see what they want to do order of operations-wise. The small counterplay here is Cool Matt versus Axiom. Axiom's going to try to hit a Graviton Surge, but Cool Matt with Defense Matrix can completely nullify it.
Now, I like this from Boston Uprising. Change up the angle. Don't keep just running headfirst into a wall. There are different entry points here now that the payload has made it past the arch, but Muma's there to cut them off, at least in the doorway. Still, they're going to go for it. 9-0 boost in. Muma going to become a very tough target to kill, looking to do as much damage as possible. He will survive for now. The grab gets thrown in here by Axiom. Cool Matt will be the first to die. Sound barrier thrown in from Kelix as well, just making sure that his teammates have that extra health. And the grab gets thrown in by Dante now, but there is no real follow-up apart from Muma, but he's going to just tickle him. That's not going to be good enough. And it's looking like Boston now is going to make some more progress.
That should have been a defining grab as well, because Aim God and Kelix did not have ultimate abilities up to heal their whole team. They both got very, very low, but actually nice play by Blase to stick around and inspire them with his healing on the Pepita to keep them alive. Now the tables have turned. They're going to continue to push onto this last point, add some time to the clock.
Yep, getting those spawn kills, always pleasant. Going to delay things further here for the Houston Outlaws, who will be now spawning from right here in this room. Third point, the circle there on the ground. That's where Boston are looking to push this truck. Now let's see, can they get it done? No, surviving, taking a little bit of damage to kick things off. Cool Matt's got the ult. Dante not quite up to the grab just yet, but it's only a moment's time before he's going to get it. And this is the question, does he throw it out immediately or not? Already ult's getting thrown into the fight. Dante finds the kill on Fusion, point blank. Muma, however, caught in the corner, dropping dangerously low, gonna get cut off from his team. And now Dante just gonna go into the mix. Kelix and Note, everybody on Boston getting in on this fight, wiping Houston Outlaws out.
There's the bell, there's the horn, there's the signal. That is a team kill. Boston eliminates every member of the Houston Uprising. And that was on a hint. If they didn't kill Muma there, I don't think they commit the Graviton Surge to it. The moment that comes across, they throw everything they got at it. And now we got 2 minutes left to finish.
Oh, they're caught out in the open. They do manage to get out of the angle just in time. Kelix with the sound barrier, they're keeping everybody in it. So Boston Uprising now the ones to really start applying the pressure. Cool Matt getting D-Mech isn't going to help things. No D-Matrix here. They don't have to worry about a grab just yet on Boston's side, but Axiom's doing the best he can to get that online quick. That could end it right here. He's getting close. Axiom, if he survives this, the rally doing a great job of keeping everybody up. And in the meantime, Boston just finding the kills. Axiom gets the grab, immediately throws it out. This could be it. This could spell defeat for Houston Outlaws.
A fantastic rally, gives everyone the speed. They give all the armor right there too. A really nice play by Blase, even though not really the flashiest of heroes. Rapida absolutely necessary, and you can just absolutely see how well they're communicating. Let's check with our insider down on the floor.
Thanks, guys. You might be wondering out there who is shot calling for Boston since the Gamsu trade to Shanghai. Well, I talked to Coach Huck at the half, and he told me Axiom and Fusions have picked up the mantle because they're both very vocal main tanks, and the team communication is as solid as ever. So that's all I got for the insider down here. Back to you, Semler and X.
Excellent, and that is it. You know, Fusions, I'm glad to see, you know, newly added to this roster, first time up on the Overwatch League stage, but he's still confident calling the shots. And when you have your main tank who's got that kind of confidence, I mean, he's right there in the thick of things. He's going to be spotting the details quicker than most, and you want to have that guy that be the one calling the shots.
You can see him chirping on the floor, and I think it's a very aggressive play style. You actually could see it in their gameplay that their target selection was working really well. Everybody's focused on one, then the next, then the next, then the next. And the issue is sometimes in comms and get a little bit muddy, as we say, where everyone's talking. Might as well be no one talking at that point, because you're talking too much, you're not listening. But it does seem like Boston's teamwork overall, facilitated by that communication, has been very strong.
Yeah, it's only getting better, and that is key moving into this current strategy where you're getting these big tanks. If you're gonna kill anything, you have to be coordinated. You have to be focusing them down. You know, well, on Houston's side, it's going to be them on the offense now. So 3 points on the board for Boston Uprising. Houston Outlaws looking to match that. They're going to be going home empty-handed. Bit of pressure here on the Outlaws. They've had a rough start to the season so far, so let's see. Will they be able to keep it together here? Already Boston with an aggressive hold this time around. Dante in the back line, looking to get the hack. Exactly, that's the perfect target. Removes the shield, going to make life difficult now for Fusions, only just now, but then, hey, they're trading kills back and forth. The back line getting pummeled.
Trading kills, but Houston's going to come out on top of this. It's a really long walk back for the defense to try to get in position to fight again. So now, all Note wants to do is stall out as much as possible. When you're on the payload as the defense, it means the offense can't push it. You just want to be as annoying as humanly possible at this moment.
Well, Note and Kelix can both get into the fight fairly quickly once they respawn. It's up to the others now to run their way back to the arch. They're going to want to try and stop them at the arch, not let Houston Outlaws move through this choke point for free. Boston now kind of hanging back.
Yeah, you see there's no Boston Uprising players on your screen because they're all regrouping, waiting at the end. Now it's time to get back in.
Now it's time to get back in, but Dante's going to have that EMP. This could be brutal. Couple of seconds, he's in position to get it to work, but decides to back off and play it safe. Good call there from the Boston Uprising, but once again, the focus fire is too good. Houston Outlaws, despite it all, finding the kills. Dante with a stylish play. Doesn't let Axiom get out intact. And now for the next fight, he's got the EMP. This is good for Houston. They're looking fantastic so far.
The aggressive translocation ability to throw that out there, then morph to it right away. Gets him the kill, taking out those low targets. I think they planned on EMPing, then they're like, oh wait, we got a couple kills, just save it. Just wait, hold on, no need.
I think he got caught. He was invisible, and I think he just took some damage. He came out of that, backed off immediately. Timing didn't line up.
He was detected, but all things have worked out as Houston Outlaws now with several ultimate abilities up. Boston getting there as well, but Boston needs to win a fight to stabilize.
Here it is. Everybody up on the high ground like this. That's why he's going to get the EMP off. It's going to be good enough here for Houston Outlaws. 4-player silence. It does wear off eventually, though. Boston now trying to stick in it, but it's not going to happen. Note dies, and Houston Outlaws going to make some really good progress here. If you're wondering why Note is just spinning in circles, he doesn't have to worry about reloading on the mech guns. He's just hoping to connect with Dante.
Infinite ammo on the Diva. You can just hold down fire and spin in circles. The only downside being you're a little bit slower while you're doing so. However, Sombra, our invisible hero, when she takes damage, becomes very visible.
Now it is. Grabs in. Nades as well. Blase really trying to capitalize on this. He's going to be able to keep his tank alive, though. Note hanging on by a thread. Gets topped up. Sound barrier thrown in here by Boink as well, and it's just a chaos. Ults getting thrown in left and right. 2 kills coming through from Boink. Getting it in, but Lynx are gonna get overwhelmed. The focus is solid on Boston's side as well. Lynx are dead, means that it's looking like Houston Outlaws will have to back off. 3.5 minutes still on the clock.
That is the stabilizing fight that Boston needed. Threw a lot of resources into it, had to hold on to it. They will do just that. And now Blase on the Ana has his Nano Boost ready. Nano Boost. Big burst healing right away if a target gets low, and then you do extra damage, you take less damage as well, and best of all, you glow a really cool shade of blue.
Get all electrified, powered up. We're saying, let's go. Oh, what a sleep. Get out of the fight. Let's go. Boston really looking to take it to him. Fusions, he did get boosted. Will be able to survive, though. Good focused healing coming through on him. Boston Uprising burning valuable time off the clock here for Houston Outlaws. Houston Outlaws not really with any ults on the line. It's going to be Fusions right now looking for an opening to just chuck that Shatter out in the open. If Muma's out of position, yep, sure enough, going to pin him behind the wall. Nothing coming of it, though, as the team has to rally around him, and Fusions cut off from his team a little bit too long there.
Boston has played so well when they play together and so poorly when they haven't. You saw the team get kind of cut in half and split apart from each other, and then those kills came in fast and quick for the Houston Outlaws as they will get to the second checkpoint and add some time to their clock. That is the goal for Houston. If they get to the end of our Dorado map, we will just do Dorado again with lesser time in the bank.
Positioning is going to be key now, but you're right to point out they need to stick together right now. Getting cut off, Fuse is trying to make plays. It's admirable. Sometimes it's just not going to work out, and that was the case there on the second point defense. Dante, however, from on high, looking for the EMP, gonna find it. That's going to open things up here for the Houston Outlaws. Immediately finding the kill on Fusions. The follow-up hack on Kellex, he's no good. Should be dying, but his team, Blase too good at keeping him up. Not going to let him die for free.
This is a Houston 1 fight as well. They use EMP early on in that fight, and the problem for Boston is that they had just used Nano, unable to get any value out of that ultimate. If Boston wants to hold, it's going to be on the tanks. Notes, Fusions, Axiom, all coming online with their very impactful ultimate abilities.
They don't have a whole lot of room to maneuver, though, and it's looking good. Muma removing the shield. Sound barrier not quite there. Fusions does manage to survive, and it's Note throwing the self-destruct out, but that's not going to be a problem here for Houston. Follow-up point-blank shatter from Muma, and Houston's Outlaws fighting back. Third point pick for them. They will tie it up 3-3.
Saw the ultimates come out late, but one ultimate that remained in their hands was Axiom's Graviton Surge. He died at 99%, has to be absolutely gutted about it. Then they started using ultimates to stall and hope that the grab would come back. Not enough as Houston able to finish the battle.
Curious to see. Bit more experience on the Houston side in sort of a lineup. They've been in crunch time before. Wondering right now if Boston, they're feeling just a little shaky. Now that it's match point, it's on you to keep it together and get the job done.
Boston trying to close it out and get their first win of this Overwatch League 2019 season. We're on the cusp, but now we got to do Dorado again. You see the time banks, well, not right now, at the top of your screen. It's going to be 2.5 minutes to 1 minute and 20 seconds, which is a not insignificant number.
Well, we've seen, I mean, Boston are the ones who are struggling. Houston looked very clean. So Boston Uprising right now, minute 20. They got the job done on Volskaya Hex, right? You know, they're capable.
They're
So
clutch.
now it's exactly, are they clutch when it comes to finishing series? Can they bring it home? Can they finish it and get the job done? That's what we're going to be watching for now, as Boston last minute adjustments on their side of things. Houston Outlaws, it's looking like they're going to stick with Dante on the Sombra. So they want to have those EMPs, they want to have those hacks. Those have been very effective so far. So they'll be keeping to that strategy. Boston Uprising, more of the same. Fusions on the Winston this time to give him that vertical aspect in his movement.
Just gonna try to push the card here. Gonna wait until Dante finds something, and then maybe you collapse on it. You also just give a little bit of push for free right now because there's no reason to really fight down on the point right now. They might just contest and wait for overtime, try to push them off and just end their push right there.
Could be exactly just hanging out. I mean, this is a bit more standard fare here from Houston. Looking for the kill. Fusion way out there. Should be able to back off. He's got no there to back him up as well. And they're just trying to run him over. Lynxer dropping dangerously low. And Lynxer will fall at the hands of Axiom. But they do trade it for Aim God on Houston's side. Boy, not going to make it. And Boston now, this is an edge. Both supports, 2 supports at least, dead for Houston Outlaws. It's not going to help things here.
Fusions does fall, but it's too little too late. Only 2 alive right now near the cart for the Houston Outlaws. As Boston continues to push, Raucus will be the next to fall cleaned up there. And that ominous music you hear in the background means that we are nearing overtime. Must stay on the cart or your offense is over.
Exactly right. They'll always have to keep the body alive on it. 5 seconds left. Houston could go for the challenge. EMP is here. As you can see, Dante looking for that high value target. Aim God would be pretty good. Yep. Goes straight for Aim God. Eliminates him immediately. Does not get the follow-up hack. But the kills are coming through here for Houston Outlaws off the back of it. The self-destruct kill on Kelix. And Boston Uprising, it's looking like this is where it's going to end for them.
We do have a self-destruct on the point trying to remake. Rock is glowing with that nano on him, trying to get as much damage done as humanly possible. Being really annoying are the Boston tanks who somehow just won't die. Can they buy enough time for their team to reinforce?
Sound barrier thrown in, gonna make it tough for Houston to die at this point. Raucus on that high ground, chucking in the orb. Self-destruct kill on Fusion, that's big. Boston Uprising still battling back, though a follow-up EMP from Dante. A couple of them hacked. They have to play careful on Boston's side. Houston doing a good job of keeping it together.
There's no way that Boston's able to pull this one back. I'm surprised they've been in the fight this long as well. They've got a Hammond on the cart trying to stall out, but without kills, it's going to be over. Yet another nano boost comes in on Muma.
It's been bonkers how fast these ults been coming online for both of these teams, but certainly this has got to be it. Houston Outlaws, they need to get the kill on Kelix, who's playing clever, hiding behind the cart. No, trying to boost his way back into the fight as well. Finally, Kelix goes down, and that will be it. Half a meter from the first point is where that push will get stalled out.
Houston Outlaws trying to treat us to a map number 5. If they're able to make more progress on the payload on this escort map, we will be going to map 5 indeed as our tiebreakers. This one has been as close can be.
Back to the first style of map that we saw in this series, Control, King of the Hill style. And while we saw Houston Outlaws look very good on that map style, so this may favor Houston in the long run. But we were in a similar situation with Houston just even a couple days ago, so we'll see.
I love Fusion's aggressive play style. However, I wonder if it hurts them sometimes, especially on Winston. His Reinhardt play style is really good because the ultimate is so valuable. Being aggressive does more damage, charges the ult faster, and he gets shatters up every minute, as we've seen in the past. However, on Winston being that aggressive and the ultimate a little less impactful, hurts them, and he's died most of anyone in the game right now at 13 deaths so far in Dorado.
That's the thing you need to keep. Again, we were touching on this going into the match. We were touching on this prior. It's just the tanks. You need to keep those tanks up. But it's the crowd control of Earthshatter as well. It's such a huge difference maker. Not only is it a bit of damage, but it's knocking people over. It's stunning them. It's not allowing them to use abilities. Still, Boston, we'll see if they can hold. They've got a lot of work ahead of them here. 2 minutes, 30 seconds for Houston Outlaws. Curious to see, are we going to get a change of strategy here? No, Dante's going to be sticking to the Sombra. It looks like Cool Matt is going to be the one going over to the Zarya. And once again, Dante right at home in the back line. Hey, that's a big hack. Axiom out of the fight immediately almost. Has to play very carefully.
Pretty good, but Boston gets the first 2 kills there while their entire team remains intact. So right now, a very good defense. They're holding very far forward because if they lose one fight, they'll still have a chance to come back and defend on the second half of this map as we dip below 2 minutes left in the time bank.
Exactly. Thank God looking for the back line right now. And sure enough, they know where Dante's playing from, so it's just something to keep an eye on. Aim God dropping low, the focus is great. Dante eventually takes him out of the fight. Aim God out of it, Blase as well. Boston Uprising now losing players, and Fusions will be the one to follow without the supports there to help him out, to keep him topped up. Houston Outlaws now took them a moment to adjust. They've donated a minute, but now they win the first engagement. The first real engagement, that is. And we're going to get into the thick of things here. Minute and 20 seconds now for Houston Outlaws.
Well, it's going to be Reinhardt versus Reinhardt here. Both Earth Shatters are up and ready to use. Earthshatter does not go through shield, so it's generally a dance between Rhine v Rhine, sometimes called the Rhine games, like the mind games that they're going to be playing against each other, but a big shatter from either side can seal it.
Oh, what a monster EMP! They're gonna get wiped out. Boston, they tried to get aggressive and run right in on Houston, but Dante punishes them. The whole team collapses on the defense, and Houston Outlaws now, it's looking like we're gonna get them at 5, Hex.
EMP makes all things possible. EMP's the opposing tank. Shield drop, shatter down, wins the fight.
Dante once again showing why he's one of the best Sombras in the business. His position, he's always where he needs to be. The real hero here for Houston Outlaws. We're taking a break, and when we come back, we'll find out who will take the win on map 5. Welcome back from the break, everybody. Hex, I know you're bursting, waiting to see this 5th map right now. What can we expect?
Well, we're going back to our control style map, but it's going to be a different scenic view. We're going to Ilios instead of Nepal. Lovely Greece, little ships out at sea. And I don't know, I think Houston's had a great deal of success with the Sombra, but it's not necessarily something you see on control point maps. It's not necessarily what you want. I don't know, man. I want to see Widow v Widow. I want to see Lynxer on it. I don't know who on Boston would play it, but whatever.
We have seen, well, now we have seen every hero played out of the 29. They've been used in strategies, but we are seeing quite a few of the tanks and the supports. That's really the dominant strategy used right now in Overwatch League. But you're right, damage dealers, Widow, that's we got to see a lot last season, the snipers going at it. It's always exciting. I mean, headshots, there you go.
It's always fun on Ilios when you play Lucio. Of course, he's got the Sound Blast ability to knock people around. And on control maps especially, there often are areas where people can fall into and die. Over the edge, into the water, into the drink if you were. So environmental kills can be something that we'll see on Ilios for sure. Hopefully we get to see some of those, colloquially referred to as the boops.
Maybe not Widow, but maybe Farah. We saw some success there earlier today. So kind of an option that's possible here on Ilios.
I think it'd be really smart for Houston to run a Farah because you know what Boston's going to run. Right now, they simply don't have the roster which gives them the versatility that they're looking for. So Boston is going to run what Boston's run all day. Why not throw a Farah into that? Maybe a Reaper into the mix. Lynxer has a good Reaper as well. So there's a lot of options. That said, we may end up just seeing 3 tanks and 3 supports on both sides.
I think we have to keep an eye on Flame, the general manager for Houston, if he sees a Reaper. Because I think that cost them in their last match on Houston's side, might have cost them the win. So Flame might be throwing some furniture around if he sees Lynxer go for the Reaper again here in clutch time.
Yeah, Matt, you know, you got to come by Matt and see Summer's impression of you. It's pretty good. It's pretty rock solid impression.
On stage. But yeah, we're tied up right now going into map 5. This is a best of 5. We're looking for the first team to get to 3 map wins. And so Houston Outlaws, Boston Uprising, they're about to go toe to toe. Well, with everything on the line, 10 seconds left.
A best of 3 here on Ilios. First 2 stages wins the map, thus the set. Let's get into it, Ilios. Beautiful. Titan of Bravos in the background there as well. See what these teams want to run, and it does seem like we've got very similar compositions. 3 tanks, 3 supports. Let's slug it out.
Houston may be regretting the decision to go aggressive damage dealers in the past. Looks like they're just going to stick to their guns. They have been doing well enough playing in the 3-3 kind of setup. Now it's just about who's going to flinch, who's going to make the mistake that's going to cost them. And while we talked a little bit about this, you know, Boston lacking a little bit of experience here on the main stage, whereas Houston, it's a team of veterans. Houston perhaps counting on that to win now, but the note has got something to say. Muma and Rock is dead.
So far, better trades for Boston to be able to take out those key figures. 3 on the point. They're trying to get the progress done and take control of the point, start counting up percentage, but Boston has something else to say about it. They will evict them off their control point and will start counting percentage of their own.
This is exciting. This is great. This Houston, this is the redemption story for Houston. They lost on map 5 last time. This week, can they get it done this time around? Boston now. They've got ults online. Fusion's surprisingly far off the Shatter, but AimGod and Baze. Now we've got these support ultimates coming here for Boston Uprising, going to make them very tough to take down, so they should have an edge in this fight. Houston Outlaws right now just kind of poking, trying to figure out if they can get in here, and then Muma gets bored with all that story, and he decides he wants to smack somebody in the face with his hammer, and there it is. Dante just throwing out the grab. Trance is through, however, from AimGod, keeping his teammates alive. Raucus is dead, and Muma just decides to go for the hero shatter. That's not gonna work. Boink eliminated, and Boston hold.
AimGod has been absolutely nutty for this Boston Uprising roster. He was on the roster last year, but in a secondary role. They traded away the player he's replacing, and now he's stepped in the lineup, and he's living up to his name. The reason they have Transcendence there is because he's able to do so much damage, able to hit those orbs from long distance. AimGod, a literal AimGod.
He's doubling Raucus' damage right now, just to point out. So AimGod is definitely hitting shots. Raucus is going to have to play catch up, and Raucus, he gets clipped down to half HP. That's going to be Boink committing in with the sound barrier. Counter sound barrier coming through. Axiom, however, his grab gets eaten up by Coolmat. Big ultimate thrown out the window for nothing.
Meanwhile, though, Boston's still accruing percentage on the point. If they win this fight, they very well will take the stage. Now back and forth. Boink is going to knock AimGod over the edge, and Houston might just have the horses to finish out this capture.
Oh, he gets the knee back on him. Okay, then no, never give up without a fight, and it'll be going Houston's way. But 89% for Boston Uprising. One good fight for them, and that's going to be it. They'll take the lead on this last map. Houston Outlaws now on them to stand strong here.
Got a lot of tools to do it too. Fusions could put his stamp on this match if he hits a really nice shatter. Him versus Muma in the Shatter Wars yet again. They're gonna kick it off with Rally.
Oh, Shatter thrown out by Fusions, connects with one. No follow-up possible though by the looks of things, and the Rally is out for Linkser, beefing up the rest of his team. Shatter not going to find anybody. Kellick's actually going to get focused, but he should not die. Coolmat not going to be able to confirm that kill. Coolmat, you got to watch your back. You got to watch the rest of your team. They're all dying. Boston Uprising right now looking fantastic.
Kellick's gonna return the favor, knock Raucus off of the edge, and now desperation time for Houston. They've got a D.Va in position on the lower part of the map to try to get there in touch, but he's gonna be focused down quickly.
Body blocks, not gonna get in here quick. Eliminated immediately, the Trance is thrown in. They're going for a ride, and that doesn't matter because now Boston Uprising are looking very good here to close it out. All about finding the kills. Muma and Coolmat both dead. It should only be a matter of time now for Boston Uprising to take the lead on the final map of this series, and sure enough, they will. First point goes to Boston.
You can be as veteran as you want in the Overwatch League, but if the Houston Outlaws aren't sweating now, I don't know when they will, because they got reverse swept in their first match. Now we're in map 5. Starting off the year with 2 to 3 losses would be absolutely gut-wrenching.
It would be brutal for a team of Houston Outlaws caliber. Not the start that they envisioned, but for Boston Uprising, I mean, it's just last season all over again. They have a system on that team, and it just seems to work. They are taking the fight and performing versus the top teams in the league. Now, however, they're in position to win this match point for Boston Uprising, and the man in question there, AimGod, definitely living up to his name.
He has played so well. In the few times he was able to play last year, he was actually putting up better numbers than the person who was starting in front of him instead. But now, for all the marbles for Boston, we're gonna head to the well. We like to call it the murder hole, because there's a giant hole in the middle of the map you can get knocked down into, and you're not coming back up.
Linkser nearly died there. Aim God nearly clipped him in the first round. That would have been sick. Aim God already up to 21% on his trance just because of that. Sick progress on his part, but Houston Outlaws point has become active, and now it's the fight, and Aim God, oh, he gets yanked into oblivion. Muma puts him out of his misery. Aim God is out of it, and now Boston down a man. And this is going to get real tough for him. Axiom nearly gets plummeted as well, but it's looking like they will have to back off here, Boston, and go for the reset. Liking the change of strategy here from Houston Outlaws, getting the McCree into the fight.
A couple of heroes we have not seen in the match yet today. Orisa is what Muma is playing. Giant quadruped with a really nice shield, but you saw the ability to pull someone with your halt ability right into the hole. This is one of the matches and stages she's used on most often. And of course, Linkser, it's as simple as it gets. A cowboy with a 6-shooter does a lot of damage.
It's worth keeping an eye on. Muma, with that halt, it's like a miniature Grav. We're talking a lot about Graviton. These are the Zarya ultimate abilities. Linkser's got that on cooldown. So keep an eye out. Right now it's going to be Linkser moving through, just fanning the hammer, trying to find a kill. Turns out it's the rest of his team that are going to die, though. That's not going to help things here for him. Oh, never mind.
Muma gets
Just
another kill into the hole. That's 2 yoinks, 2 halts right into the hole, drops him down into oblivion as they're getting to about 50% here. It has been all Houston on this stage of Ilios.
Targets are dying and Boston are dying, and right now they're at 50% for the Houston Outlaws. So 50% and climbing, and now we have the great stall abilities as well. High Noon, you can just throw that out there and force Boston to take cover.
See if he gets any value out of this Deadeye. Targets heroes, able to eliminate them immediately once their icon turns to a skull. It's a difficult ult to use.
Difficult positioning, but with the sound barrier out now, exactly, he's got the bit of a buff on the HP. He's going to make it more difficult to kill him. And you can see Boston Uprising all have to hide around the corner. If they show themselves, they can get picked off. As soon as it wears off, though, Boston Uprising now straight onto the point, looking for the fight. And again, a key player getting chucked into the murder hole. Axiom is out of it. Fusions goes primal, trying to bring it back. They need to find a kill quick here, Boston. Houston, however, oh, there it is again. Boy, ruthless.
Boink
3 kills. Oh, nearly another one. Muma, he just doesn't stop.
Some of these guys have been doubly dead. They get boinked, and then they also get halted into the hole as well. Boston's done nothing on this stage. That nothingness will continue. And you know what, Semler? It's been a great match. It would be unfitting if we didn't go to map 3 of Ilios to decide it all.
That's it. No further can we go, Hex. This is where it all gets settled. Who's going home with the W? And who's going home with the L? Still impressed and glad to see that Linkser is able to show us what he's capable of. Only the 1 kill, though. But really, it's just about the damage, the constant damage output on that McCree.
You have to worry about it as well. It slows down a team's ability to dive on you, because if Winston jumps in, McCree's got a flashbang, which is going to stun you, and then you're just dead. So you can't jump in, mess around, and jump out. He's very good at stopping aggression from opposing teams.
This time, however, on a map that we're used to seeing a lot of Widow on, it's not looking like we're going to get that show from Linkser this time around. It is going to be a mirror match by the looks of things. Nope. Muma on the Winston, and Fusion's on the Rhine.
Okay. I doubt Boston's ever going to go towards the right side, given how many environmental deaths they took last match.
Those environmental deaths, it'll come back to bite you. Boston, you just got to shake it off. Gotta shake it off, get focused up here. Now or never, this is it. So, note, kind of hanging out on the edges, looking for those squishies. If he can find one of the supports out of position, he's looking to pounce. Has to keep an eye on his team as well. Aim God will get topped up again. Cool Matt dangerously low. Cool Matt team maxed immediately, though. This is big for Boston. This should set them up to pick up the first control, and sure enough, the kill on Dante is certainly going to help things.
Boink with a couple of kills, trying to bring his team back, but he's the only one on the board. It will be Boston Uprising eventually taking first point, and Boink with a late death means that they're going to have to take some time before they can recontest. Right now, though, nearing ultimate phase of the game, Muma's going to switch off of Winston onto Reinhardt, an entirely different style of play. It seems like we're nearing a Graviton surge for the Uprising. Axiom at 80%, Dante only nearing 40 now, so big advantage for Boston.
They have got it exactly in Fusions. He is not afraid to just throw the Shatter out there if he sees it. Muma having switched to the Rhine now, he has to worry about that shield. But still, Boston going to put up a fight for every inch, not going to let Houston Outlaws get onto the point for free. And now Fusion's just waiting for a target to present itself.
So tense right now. AimGod's trying to stay as far away from the team as possible in case they get shattered. Here comes the Graviton. Is there any follow-up for it?
Counter grab gets thrown in. Transcendence thrown into the mix as well by Raucus, trying to keep his teammates up. The sound barrier is up as well. Kellick's gonna counter that with the sound barrier of his own. This is all about timing. Both of the Rhines out of the fight. Fusion didn't even get to use his shatter. So they're both out of the mix. 5-on-5 right now. Still, the fight continues with the supports so good right now, keeping their team up. Dante still looking for an angle to make the grab work, and exactly hides it behind the pillar. Gonna bring a couple targets into it, and Axiom, the focus fire is too good. He can't survive. Houston Outlaws now with the edge.
The longer, slower, more drawn out this fight is, the happier Boston is, because they are in control of the point right now. You look at that percent, keeps going up. Boston's happy to just hang out and trade all day.
They're doing a great job of stalling this out. 81% and counting now for Boston Uprising. The kills finally go Houston's way, and that's going to be it. Finally, Houston will take control. 86% for Boston Uprising. This is very similar to the first point of Ilios. One good fight for Boston now, and they could be walking away with the win tonight.
Houston's also in a very good spot ultimate-wise. It'll be interesting to see if Boston wants to try to just bait them into using abilities and fight next time, or really commit to this. We're going to see based on the ultimate usage for Boston. If they start committing check marks, then they're in it to win it.
They're really in there. Dante, though, with this high ground, he's just pumping damage in. Pumat's going to help out here. Have this! Self-destruct! Not going to find a kill, but still sowing chaos in the back ranks for Boston. And Boston, quick reset here. Get out of dodge. AimGod with the parting shot on Linkser. But they're going to get chased all the way back to their shuttle.
I'm not in love with that Transcendence there. I thought the fight had already over. You only need one. Might as well accrue all of those resources possible. But AimGod is getting his ultimate ability up once every minute, so why not? Next fight, we could see finally Boston utilize a Graviton Surge into a Self-Destruct. Can they combo it to win the series?
They're on the point now. But again, it's on Houston Outlaws to keep contesting it. Houston Outlaws going to try and draw this out as best they can. There's the grab, self-destruct, thrown right above it. No, going to be looking for the pummel. He's only going to find Linkser. Good timing there from Raucus and everybody involved. Boink as well, keeping his team alive, but Muma's going to get pinned up against the wall. The sound barrier from Kellick's just making it too hard to take down the Boston Uprising. Boston Uprising right on the edge now of flipping the point. They're doing the best they can to stall it out, Houston, but it's not going to be good enough. 90% now for Boston Uprising. Match point.
Can Houston even get back to touch the point? There is a Brigida rotating around that I don't think they saw. Going to get on the point. Fusions is up front to stop everybody else, but that's it! Boston Uprising pulls off Ilios, pulls off Map 5, pulls off the victory over the Houston Outlaws.
Linkser, just both hands to the face, can't believe it. Houston Outlaws with a very difficult start to the season. Boston Uprising, though, excellent performance versus the NYXL, and a win here today versus the Houston Outlaws. Nobody can underestimate this team now. They are true monsters.
Their only loss to the NYXL so far, 1-1, and I think this is how Boston wants to start the season. Let's just stick around. Let's keep our heads above water. We'll get players back. Maybe we'll make some moves. Maybe we'll make some trades. But right now, the Boston Uprising, yet again, they rebuilt the roster. People underestimate them. You gotta be done underestimating the Boston Uprising.
They have too many weapons on this team. Fusions with the calls and the aggression. AimGod hitting shots left, right, and center. Truly impressive stuff here from Boston, and a well-deserved win for them. But we're now going to hand it over to our sideline reporter, Mika Burton. I believe she has an interview ready with Fusions himself.
Thanks, guys. We got Fusions here on the floor. Give it up for Fusions, you guys. That's right. All right, so your impressive tank play and your shot calling has helped lead Boston to victory today. How does it feel going from contenders to having so much responsibility now?
It's such a big difference. Playing on top of this stage is just something else, but playing with the players at the Overwatch League level, it's really like you learn a lot really quickly, and just being able to play in front of everyone here has just been so cool.
Well, it's been cool watching you. I know that everybody who's been watching at home has been impressed. I know that the casters have been impressed. And next week, you're going to be going up against Shanghai and the recently traded Gamsu. So how do you feel going tank v tank? Is there a little bit of more pressure to perform there?
Well, there's a bit of rivalry between my team and theirs, obviously, because of Gamsu being on Shanghai now. But we're just going to give it our best shot and prepare as much as we can for them like we did for today, and hopefully we can get another win.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and back to the casters.
Thank you, Mika. And yeah, you can definitely tell that Fusions has been calling shots there. You know, casters, we get it too, you know.
Yeah.
No voice left.
A little bit of, but I think he's done for the week, so he has a couple days to recuperate at least. But what a great call for him. I mean, the success story is so interesting to go from Overwatch World Cup team to Contenders team to now you're the face in front of the Boston Uprising, and you just beat one of the more dominant and established teams in the Overwatch League.
So now it's time to find out who our player of the match is. Sponsored by owned by HP. It is going to be the man himself, with the names that is so sick. Aim God. Aim God will take it. I mean, after his performance on the last map, it can't be a shock. He pretty much doubled Brockus' stats, who was playing the Zenyatta on the other side. I mean, Aim God had such a high impact.
It just fits the narrative of this team so much, these kind of scrappy underdogs, right? Aim God was on this roster last year, didn't get starting playing time. Now he's got something to prove. You put me in the starting lineup, and look, Zenyatta, it's not super mechanical on where your heals go, when you're transcendencing, things like that, but just hitting shots so that you have Transcendence up, so you have the ability. Transcendence saves your team. You need it for when you get Graviton. If you don't have Transcendence up, that Graviton wipes your team. Aim God did a ton of damage, always great positioning, in the right spot, saved his team time and time again. No one deserves it more than Aim God.
Yeah, fantastic performance from him. Congratulations, and we'll see more MVPs probably going to be coming for him. He is a beast. But of course, guys, this was just the first match here, live from the Blizzard Arena in Los Angeles. But we have coming up next the Philadelphia Fusion versus the Atlanta Reign, and that's right after the break. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Overwatch.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. High ground or low ground, T-Mobile has you covered.
Well, it may be a little nippy outside, but it's definitely warming up here in the Blizzard Arena in Los Angeles. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Overwatch League. My name is Mitch Leslie. I'm here with Matt Morello, and we have the distinct pleasure of bringing to you Game 2 of today, the Philadelphia Fusion going up against the Atlanta Reign.
Yeah, I woke up this morning, I went outside, you would have thought we were in Philly. Not Los Angeles. It was
actually,
cold, man.
I recall that from being over there. It was very cold.
No, this is going to be a really crazy match. You know, Philly, obviously, they win that rematch against London to get their first win. And then Atlanta, you know, one of the expansion teams, all the expansion teams playing really well. Now, they get that big win against Florida to kick off their season.
You know, it's 6 of those expansion teams with a win already. It's quite phenomenal. The parity of power in the Overwatch League is looking excellent. Let's talk about another powerful figure, though, and Sato from the Philadelphia Fusion has definitely been an important component of their success thus far. Matt, they're playing a lot of tank-based compositions, and you can see that, yeah, without Sato, they spent much of last year without him. Definitely not as high a win rate.
And look, I mean, you play with him more, that 58% win rate probably starts to go up. We can take a look at some of his stats. Now, they are like mind-blowing. These are his ones on Reinhardt. It's been his Winston that's been really good. When we've seen a lot of people play this 3-3 composition with the Winston, a lot of the times we see the Winston dying early. When the main tank falls, everything else crumbles after. He's been doing a good job staying alive on that hero. And look, I mean, you take that 58% win. You're definitely a lock for the playoffs by the end.
And let's discuss the individual fuel purely by energy drinks and Twitch Prime. Very strongly in his debut with the Atlanta Reign. Everything. He definitely looks very comfortable out on the stage.
He looks like scarily comfortable, right? You'd expect.
What does that mean? What's scarily
well, like that, like you're just too calm, right? You know, you like almost like you see in the game before. And for somebody who didn't play in the league last year, obviously streams a ton, plays a ton of Overwatch. But there may be like a little bit of an adjustment period, but you can see from watching his POV, the mechanical skill is there. I think what people don't give him a ton of credit for is just how good he is mentally, like in the game. And he's able to set up a lot of his teammates. I think when you combine just that raw skill and then being able to play a team game around it, that's when you get that scary play like we saw the other day.
Having an opportunity to flip the script on his career so far is definitely something that he's looking forward to do. And so far, so good. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to welcome back to the arena, the Philadelphia Fusion.
Where's that big orange guy leading the charge today?
Yo, me and Gritty got back close. It was ironic again that I saw him on Valentine's Day. I thought I'd be his Valentine. He gave me a kiss when I was in Philly in the show match. A very gregarious individual, but I mean, these guys don't really need too much introduction, right?
No, I mean, we've seen this starting 6 before. Seems like they're the ones that they're going to be rolling with throughout the season. EQO and Carpe, the DPS duo. You got Poco and Sato in terms of tanks, and then Boombox and Neptuno. I really think, you know, Boombox was up and down during the season last year, but during Overwatch World Cup, he's played really well. And then I thought in the first game, at least for early on, we saw his Zen really pop off at times. So I think it's really a good sign if you can see him start to playing at that high tier Zenyatta play more often.
And now their opponents coming into the Overwatch League with an absolute bang, hoping to continue said streak. It's the Atlanta Reign. Very multicultural team, Matt. Really exciting what the management and coaching staff over at Atlanta have been able to put together here.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we obviously, you see DeFran come out last today. Zarbo boos, those are dudes.
Yeah, dude.
They usually
it's really hard
something like it,
It's tough for new viewers because we have so many of these sort of pseudo boos that aren't actually boos.
It's like Soons, it's dudes, you can take a look at the roster here. You know, they have DeFran obviously leading the charge. You know, Kodak support. Urster going to be that other DPS player. We'll see if we see, you know, a lot of multi-DPS lineups in this match. I think we'll probably just see a lot more about what we've been seeing all week this far. Triple tank, triple support.
Yeah, good to see a bit more of Enlair as well. Obviously, you know, hailing from over in the CIS region. Kodak, of course, from Germany, a place I spent many years in. Urster was definitely my call for, you know, breakout rookie player of the year. I think he's got a lot of potential. I mean, it's kind of hard to call him a rookie because he's already dominated over in, you know, in China previously. But I mean, looking dominant so far.
So, last year, I think like Philly kind of set the standards, right? You know, in terms of, they had this, multicultural team. They bring everybody together. You have the great house. They're making all types of content and whatnot. And you kind of look over on the other side of the stage. Atlanta's kind of doing the same type of thing. Another team that's built the same way.
And here's your map set, ladies and gentlemen, presented by Toyota. We start on Nepal. Again, a map that's going to give us probably a little bit of a variety in compositions. Philly, they've wanted to go towards a triple tank, triple support setup. They look fairly comfortable there. That's kind of how they conquered London for the most part. What do we expect to see?
I think in this map set, you see a ton of opportunity to run things outside of triple tank, triple support. Kings Row on offense, a lot of verticality. You can run, a double sniper with a FAR and crazy things like that. And Volskaya, on offense, we have seen a lot of teams go away from 3 tanks, 3 supports. So I think this could be a series where you see, a lot of crazy hero swaps, a lot of different compositions come out.
Well, it's time to head over to the snow-dusted steppes of Nepal, ladies and gentlemen. And again, both these teams, dynamic DPS players, impressive tanks, fascinating backline play. We've seen so much, great Lucio play over the last sort of few days or so, especially when setting up a lot of these big wombo combos. We should expect to see the same here. We had concerns. We thought Neptuno would struggle a little bit. We know, and it is documented that, he suffers through some wrist pain every now and then. And when we last saw him, he had a bit of tape on him, but he's been able to push past that. He's been able to conquer it.
Well, I mean, good for Philadelphia. You do have Elk, right? If Neptuno was not able to go, Elk, a very solid main support. So Atlanta, let's start things off here. 3 tanks, 3 supports. Philly going to pull out something a little bit different. So triple DPS with an Ana here to kick things off.
The Tracer for EQO. Already probing here. Interesting to see Poco on that Sombra. Definitely a different look thrown at us already by the Philadelphia Fusion. Scouting having been completed, they are going to swap up here. They know they're going to be going up against a very durable composition map.
I think maybe originally they thought that Atlanta would come out with something different, but the reason that Philadelphia doesn't fight that is because if they go and fight it, most likely they end up losing with the composition that they had. They give Atlanta the point and ult charge, and then you have to swap, and now you're resetting all of your ultimate charge as well. So you're way behind in terms of ultimate economy.
Sato pushing forward. He gets bubbled pretty quickly. He does want to get aggressive. Nenele is down already. Sato makes the face, or hammer in this case it was. Pokpo took a huge amount of damage himself, and Erskine gets knocked out of the mech. Defran very charged up, and he's trying to maintain the front line here, but Pokpo's going to get knocked out by Poco. That's going to be fun as the series goes on. The Fusion select the correct composition. They don't risk losing that first fight. Yes, they give up a quarter of the capture percent, but now they're in control.
N-Layer just a little bit too far away from the rest of his teammates. They're not able to keep him up, and then they just start isolating players one by one, rolling onto the point. And you look, that 28% looks like nothing now because, if you would have let Atlanta, take that first fight, they're probably sitting here at 50% with ultimates, which looks great for Atlanta. Really heads up play early from Philly.
First ult up here is EQO's rally. Philly will be able to rely on that one. For right now, it's going to be the front line just butting heads a little bit. Here's the speed boost coming forward. Shield was given over towards Sato, and he picks up N-Layer again. The first casualty in 2 fights in a row. And then the rest of the rain will crumble, lacking the backbone that keeps them up.
And how many times in this meta do we see, the team that uses that speed boost and engages and pushes on in, and you almost want to force the other team to react, force them to make mistakes, come in with your own game plan, force the issue on the opposing team, let them be the one that backs up, makes mistakes right there. Philly, they meet them at the choke, they push on through, there's nothing Atlanta can do.
Again from the high ground, Earthshatter here for both sides. The Transcendence is also evenly matched fight in terms of ultimates as they'll be brought to bear. Sato again trying to look around the corner. He's the only one caught in that grab. Transcendence, though, is still committed to try and keep him up. Earthshatter's blocked by the shield, though, and Poco's going to have to wait his turn. Poco in, pushes him back, and EQO's caught in the grab now himself. Self-destruct over the top. Nothing from that one, but Massa already fell Sato. A wild charge will yield a Lucio kill for the Fusion, and they'll keep pushing on. Here's the sound barrier, the self-destruct in the back. It doesn't find any targets, and the Fusion are all over this one. 80% on the clock for them, and they will maintain control.
And Atlanta is forced, Massa to hold on to his own sound barrier. You don't want to blow it there because then the game is definitely over. At least this point, 100% would go over to Philly. You'd have nothing in this fight. So you need to hold on to the sound barrier. You think you keep Defran alive long enough to get this grab. They got to get a point touch here within 5 ticks, though. Sound
barrier is what Atlanta's going to need to make themselves durable enough for this push. There it is. They push forward. Speed boost as well. They're all over Philly. That's the Earthshatter. It was a knockdown there. It looks like Defran was put on his rear end. Poco got rid of him, but they trade the Reinhardt as a result. Carpe, great focus fire from Atlanta mid-fight to try and take down that Zaya. And now it is going to be EQO caught up amidst a roiling mass of red. And it's not the blood of the Fusion, no, it's the raiment of the rain. With Boombox falling, they will clean up this fight. stay in it.
That did not look good when I thought DeFran goes down, right, and he's going to have that big Graviton surge, and he drops. I'm like, oh, this is going to be Phillies for the taking. But no, Enlayer with that rally keeps everybody up. Kodak picking up some kills, earning that Transcendence again. Now you take a look at some of these ultimates. You're going to have the Transcendence to block that Graviton surge that comes in from Carpe. They're going to try and combo, you know, the grab plus the self-destruct from Poco. A lot of tools for Atlanta here. That's going to be their grab early. A lot of players stuck inside of it. And they're not, if Philly's just going to lose this fight, they're just going to back on out. Nothing they could do there. Nice grab from DeFran.
It took a lot of damage early on there, Philly. Usually if that grab comes in and maybe, you know, there's a way of sustaining maybe a rally from your team, you can keep fighting. But Philadelphia are happy enough with that one, knowing that Atlanta have had to use some of those resources. The Graviton obviously being a real fight changer. Carpe has his available now, though, when Philadelphia are poised to retake.
They have to be careful, Philly, to not use the grab and then have Sato go in, just try and make an impact. That'll be a self-destruct that goes through. It connects with EQO. That is horrible for the Philly Fusion.
He was supposed to be protected by his front line, but perhaps some of the explosion managed to creep through. And that's going to be really annoying for Philly, because now they push this round to a one-fight affair, and the Fusion are caught here. They have to stand and fight. This is not what they wanted. Atlanta now can get some more of that ultimate percentage and push them back. Graviton Surge frivolously used by the Fusion to try and stay in it, but they make one crucial misstep at the final moment, and the Atlanta Reign, they capitalize. Poco desperately trying to get onto the point just to stall out here, but he's nothing but a small distraction, a trifling affair. The Atlanta Reign will get that first round.
I think Atlanta, towards the end there, they caught Philly off guard. So EQO drops for Philadelphia, and they just kind of like back out into that mega health pack room. And I don't think they expected Atlanta to get so aggressive. And Poco comes around the corner and lands like a 4-player shatter, and they just run through them.
Oh, he was split. He wasn't behind his...
the
boop. Beautiful. That's nasty. Was that Enlayer coming in, I think, with maybe the shield bash or whip shot to put him into the explosion? Either way, lovely setup. And it's moments like that, you often see them, a lot of these displacement abilities become very important dealing, you know, with these heavy tank compositions or with self-destructs, knocking players into the blast that otherwise be safe from. That's why that Lucio play has been at such a premium lately. It's so important to secure those very difficult kills otherwise to get.
I like this setup from Atlanta coming out. You have the Orisa, really great shield at time, and the double sniper. And Enlayer takes out Sato right off the bat. Philly gonna have to back out. So, you know, you're able to control the point. Right here, you know, if you're Philly, they're going to make a change. But the Winston can't really do much. Jumping into the Orisa, just a ton of damage. You have the DeFran there.
Oh, it's time to pony up, boys!
I like that. This is what I like. So, no, Atlanta comes out with this comp, and Philly, they lose their first fight, but they're like, we don't mind playing this type of game. We'll bring our own double sniper out.
That was all Philly last season. The Hanzo Widowmaker combo, the double sniper. We thought it was a thing of the past, but now it makes its return. Poco, oh, he took heavy damage there, but it was Boombox caught out by the Hulk. Now this fight's already over. Now it's just a cleanup here, and Philly really can't get away quickly enough. They don't have a Lucio in their team composition, so when they do get players picked off, they pretty much just have to feed as quickly as they can.
And you know what, Mitch, that's exactly what I was going to bring up, is that when you see Orisa on one side, you know, obviously her shield has great uptime. She's very difficult to take down. You have to get behind the shield to do a lot of that damage. That's where you see Lucio played, you know, against Orisa a lot of the time. You use that speed, you get right past the shield, then you're able to take her out. When you just kind of play this long-range poke, you're just going to keep seeing the Orisa just put shield down after shield down after shield down.
First barrier put down by Sato, disintegrated rather rapidly. And a Sonic Arrow now from the Fusion. They can keep tabs on the Reign even though they're inside the cloister on the right side. And now they tentatively move forward. Sato places down a new shield. Here's the Dragon Strike coming through. They're trying to force that front line away. Poco got picked off by Boombox, but he gives up his life to secure the Orisa from the Reign. And Enlayer was too sharp on that Widowmaker, but he's brought back into the fray. Sato boot forward though. The Reign want to run forward over the top of the Fusion, but EQO won't let it happen. DeFran goes down. And now the Transcenders. Philadelphia are setting their feet. They want to fight right here.
You have to use the trance to keep EQO alive, as Poco on the point, he's really weak. You see Sato switch over to Wrecking Ball. You're going to use that to try and just get off the high ground, land down. Ursa's going to throw his self-destruct and trying to catch some players through the doorway. Both supports for Philly. They back on out. This should be the last fight, though, for Philadelphia. And
Carpe.
Carpe.
I don't know if there's going to be a Resurrect available from Neptuno there. He does have Valkyrie. Okay, brings Carpe back. The Widowmaker 1v1 reinstated. Now the sound barrier though, when Enlayer gets out of trouble, he wants to look for Neptuno, but he's a little bit too slippery to catch currently. Perhaps a better target might be served with Carpe. Met him at the door! Takes him down, and Kodak's missing as well. That's 2 for Carpe. Self-destruct. Pokpo's Bongo is down. The supercharger is removed, and Carpe fancies a little bit of close quarters. Now it's all Philly set up on this point. Atlanta with just Lucio and really the Diva just to hold on. Masso goes down. Poco deals with him, and finally the Fusion managed to get a foothold in this round.
Yeah, so Sato, when he goes over to Wrecking Ball, he actually tries to go all the way to the back line to put some pressure on both snipers. It's a really nice sound barrier by Masa, connects with everybody, but then Carpe just comes on the flank here. He's able to pick up some close range kills. That is filthy.
Yeah, and he gets a second as
Yeah.
well. Here's the setup. Poco just trying to keep tabs on the point, but they've lost EQO again. A pick-off may decide the fate of this fight. Dragon Strike comes through, and Poco has to get away very quickly. He could have lost his mech to that ability. Boombox is missing. Defran now hunting for targets. Double back and take a left turn at Albuquerque for the health pack. Sato is pressuring point, but there's Carpe. Sato cleverly communicating that to Carpe. He knew where his opponent would be. Now Carpe trying to get away. He knows that he'll be run down by Urstra eventually. And there's running out of options for Philadelphia Fusion. Sato sets up a minefield, but he can't step onto the point. They brought back Carpe though. Philadelphia throwing all their eggs into the Widowmaker basket right now. They need to try and retake here. Enlair's down. Sato's getting aggressive. That's his second one. Shield up on the point for Poc, but he does get Sato, but the Transcendence is now brought to bear. EQO recalls. Philadelphia with the numbers on the point. Urstra over the edge, and they will just stay in the running.
Neptuno using Valkyrie, able to fly up in the sky, keep Sato alive. He's able to pick up 2, and then he actually takes out 1 player with his weapon. And then you have Boombox come in with that Transcendence. The Fran now will play Tracer, so you're gonna have that Tracer to go behind enemy lines, and they're actually gonna have Poco switch over to Winston. So you want to dive, put some pressure on Carpe here, allow Enlair to hit some easier shots.
Fairly tentative positioning from Enlair. It's not very aggressive. He spots EQO out, now knows that he's been caught in the Widowmaker's sights. It's hard to find a clean shot with all these shields on the point right now, but Atlanta, this is dangerous. They're threatening to retake the point. Carpe opens up the fight though. Enlair is down. First blood now to Philadelphia Fusion, but Carpe will be pressured away. It doesn't matter though. Masa's down to a pulse bomb elsewhere, and Ursta's over the edge once more. Atlanta must regroup for one last crack at this, but Philly looking dominable.
Defran ends up using the pulse bomb here. He's gonna fall pretty late, so they're 94% and counting. It looks like, it's gonna be very tough for Atlanta to get a touch here. Pokeball gonna go to Wrecking Ball, barely gets on the point.
Boombox might be threatened though. Drops in on top, and so much damage from Pokpo here.
Uh-oh. You lose Sato, you lose Boombox. Players from Atlanta getting on the point.
This is dangerous times indeed. Ursa now just trying to make sure Philly stay inside that small room. EQ always nowhere to go. They're trying to get a resurrect here, but elsewhere Enlair is down. They brought Boombox to the fight. Carpe with 2. That's what Philly were looking for here. This is how they stay in this fight. Transcendence now over the point for Boombox, and Urstra on high is desuited. The Wrecking Ball now coming in for Sato. He's more than happy to bring that one right on down. Sound barrier only really for Poco here, and the Fusion maintain control, but it's not over yet. Popo drops back in again. Poco pressure down. It doesn't matter. Oh, this is going to be a good map, man. I feel it. What a piece here on Nepal.
Now the map looks like it's done. And then you had the self-destruct there from Ursa connect with 1. Masa gets 1 as well, and looked like they may have been able to turn things back in their favor. Look at the angles, dude. Like, Carpe's so sneaky. Like,
look what he's doing under pressure as well. 2 players.
They needed 4 players.
Yeah, that's right. He killed 2 players, and then 2 more were committed to dealing with him. That takes so much pressure off of the rest of the Philly Fusion lineup, who were at that time working tooth and nail just to get the point.
I always find it incredible that, like, obviously, 3 players coming at him. You hit 2 crazy shots. It's just how long you survive as like a Widowmaker at Carpe specifically in that type of situation, able to just kind of get creative, go on some flanks, and stay alive for a long time. Philly's gonna switch. It's gonna be the same thing we saw in the first one.
Yeah. Atlanta coming out with that triple tank, triple support, and Philly don't really want any of it. I mean, it's a little bit tough for Carpe on that McCree to find meaningful ways to get value. So much healing on Atlanta makes it a little bit tricky. So again, Philly will abdicate the point to Atlanta for that first fight. They don't want to take the risk, which I can appreciate here. They can't really interfere with it as it is being captured, but now they're set up on the high ground. Where to from here?
I mean, obviously, Atlanta wants to fight this close quarter on the point. Like, they're in control, holding the point here. As you see the Discords coming down.
Big charge, a lot of aggression. Kodak's pretty safe from his current spot here. And Philly haven't managed to break through the front line yet. Atlanta defending this point like they would Helm's Deep. Remember the Discord orb on Fran doesn't seem to bother him at all. Poco down to about half, and EQO's taken an absolute battering thus far. We're looking to build up towards a critical mass here. Would Philly want to pull the trigger, and Fran's more than happy to fight. He's well charged.
And Atlanta's going to get their Transcendence a bit faster here than Philadelphia. Both teams just kind of like poking and prodding on the point. Nobody really wants to commit until now Atlanta uses the sound barrier.
EQO the first to drop, and they do a great job of cutting Sato off from the rest of the fusion. He got booped and bopped around, and there was no one that could save him, not even a life raft. And amidst that fight, Atlanta had control of the point the entire time. So they're up already 54% on capture progress, and they have a bunch of ultimates to boot.
I mean, they'll have everything but the sound barrier they use to engage in that fight. You know, you get a few players weak. You see, teams just kind of bouncing back and forth. There's not really like a main healer on any of these compositions when you do this. So, be the Graviton Surge, Transcendence comes out, self-destruct as well. Sound barrier here from Philly as well.
Poco tries to Earth Shatter there, but he's actually knocked into the air. He can't land it.
Oh!
Poco is back in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Not a moment too soon either. And really very little Atlanta could do at that point. That exhausted all of their ultimates. And the self-destruct into the backside was the straw that broke the back.
I mean, Atlanta is still in a very good position here, Mitch. 85%. They don't have any ultimates right now. So what they need to do is they need to try and, maybe get a player down like pretty low and then start to push on in, which will force Sato to maybe shatter or EQO to rally, then come back in one of those next fights with an ult advantage.
Should just be EQO rallying, moving forward. Philly trying to force a mistake, get a good shatter. That's two there at least. Ursta knocked down. Enle's already fallen. Neptuno is in there like swimwear. A 1-for-1 trade, and they lose Sato there, so perhaps not the clean fight they were looking for.
But if you push here, though, EQO is going to have to rally to keep everybody up. So you see Carpe picks up Poco. Now you see Atlanta's going to back out. They kind of got what they wanted. They got both of those ultimates I was talking about out of the way. So they got the Shatter gone. They got Rally gone. They're going to come back. They're going to have their own sound barrier. They're going to have Transcendence. You're going to get closer towards your own Earth Shatter. You're going to be able to build up some of these big ultimates to combo for one really big fight.
Atlanta dipping their toe in the water so far, not really wanting to commit, but now might be the time. Sato, he definitely wanted to brawl, and again, he's extended so far. Boombox desperately tried to keep him alive with the Transcendence, but was just a little too late, and now the Rain get aggressive themselves, pushing up. You see Poco has to look on in dismay as the rest of his team are turned into chum. EQO down to Kodak here, and Atlanta are definitely looking to retake it for this fight. Neptuno will fall at the end, and that's it.
And obviously a really strong fight there for Atlanta. Even stronger that they hold on to a lot of these ultimates. I mean, you got Shatter, Rally, Grab here. The Fran's gonna throw the grab down. You get Poco D-Max. You can't even push through there. You're just stuck.
98%. Philadelphia being kept out completely. It's a shutout. Atlanta Rain. They know when to back away. They know when to fully commit. Really coordinated. Their disengages look fantastic, and they will, as a result, take the first map of this series away. Nepal. Love to see that coordination. Philly Fusion have much to answer for when we return from this break.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Well, it's such an important call because a lot of times in Overwatch it's critical to recognize when a fight is lost.
The most important thing when I hear winnable is like carry on playing, because maybe you think the fight's lost so you kind of give up, but then when you hear winnable, like you try to make more plays, you go in, maybe use ults or whatever.
When it seems like losing or the situation in game get bad, we can just say winnable to make people like high up again, and like, yeah, we can win. We can just do our best and we can win.
Recognizing when a fight is winnable is when kills have gone both ways. You know, the fight is scrappy, but if a player on your team believes that you can commit and win, it's a good idea to go for it because the reward can really pay for it if that call is made at the right time.
Absolutely an important concept to explore here is, you know, we talk so much as casters about how much teams are committing to one fight, especially with these triple tank, triple support setups, Matt, so important. Who comes out of the fight ahead in Ultimate Economy, or if it's worth investing things like Gravitons and the like to win.
Yeah, and I think Atlanta played Ultimate Economy perfectly on that final point. You know, they came in with that one fight. It's really when they got the rally and the shatter out, they were able to back out, and then Sato's the first one to drop in the next fight. And we've talked throughout the week this far about how important it is when your main tank is alive and the other main tank on the other side is not. You just speed boost, you get that Reinhardt, you know, all supported up. There's nothing the other kid can do.
Yeah, it's worth, we have to be a little bit critical of Sato, I think, you know, with how disjointed he was for the rest of his team. Darko comes in here for Enlair. Substitution on the side of the Atlanta Reign, and I mean, this team's looking great. I really have to say that there must have been a very clear calling architecture because their disengages look excellent. You know, this is actually like an accusation we leveled at the Dallas Fuel, for example. And we've explored the last couple of days is that, you know, knowing when to get in, get out of these fights, they're not always on the ball with. Sometimes they're caught out. A lot of teams do this, especially if their comms are shaky. Atlanta don't seem to suffer from that particular ailment.
No, and you think that it's kind of surprising, like you would think some of these teams that come back with really similar rosters from last year would have a huge advantage in terms of teamwork over, you know, a lot of the expansion teams coming through. But the expansion teams have looked really solid, putting together these strong rosters, you know, in a short time period and coming in, building that teamwork, that chemistry, and, you know, taking it to a lot of the old Season 1 teams.
And again, a lot of the players that are originally hailing from the European region are demonstrating they work very well inside that framework of, you know, 3 tank and 3 support. They look very good. Obviously, you know, I was reminded by the Paris Eternals GM yesterday that they're very good at playing tanks. Thank you for that, Michael.
Reminded by everybody from Europe that they like to play tanks.
Yes.
They're very good.
Reminded by, everyone was like, I can't believe you bet against us. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of how predictions work, man. It's fine. I'll wear it on the chin. So Philly away on defense here, and again, nothing crazy about this composition. It is the triple tank that features the Winston instead of the Reinhardt here. Is this odd on defense? Wouldn't you rather see Reinhardt sort of, you know, on this map to begin with?
It's tough. I think if Philly were to come out running Reinhardt, I think that's when you see Atlanta go back into spawn and swap to, you know, maybe like a quad or triple DPS.
Just punish the immobility of Reinhardt.
And then I also think that's why you see Philadelphia not use something like an Orisa on defense, because if they saw the Orisa, Atlanta probably goes back to the spawn and swaps. So, now, having the Winston in protects you against a lot of those DPS heroes the most. That's why you see Atlanta go with like a standard, you know, Reinhardt 3 support combo. Big pick off, Zen on Zen there. Boombox taking out Kodak from long range.
And then Pokpo falling very quickly after with the Discord orb on him. EQO was able to walk up, hit him through his barrier, and the Discord orb was adding so much under the damage. We've seen this a bunch from Boombox in this series actually against the London Spitfire. A lot of those early picks, especially on Bedosin. Getting that opposition Zen, very important.
Atlanta, as that goes on though, they lose that fight pretty quick. They do get a tick on the point. So you can see at the top of your screen, they've hit that arrow, so they're going to have that to go off of progress. So a third of the way, taking point A already.
Yeah, I mean, that limits Philly's margin of error now. They can't just sort of sit up on the purchase for as long as they would otherwise like. They'd probably be pretty annoyed that that even happens.
I mean, that's what you're going to have to do if you're Philly. You're going to have like the Diva and the Winston, so Poco and Sato in this situation, just cycle who can test the point back and forth to get enough healing to keep them to stay up.
Well, look at them. Atlanta realize this now. They're sitting in the corner trying to bait an engagement. Sato gets boot back almost as soon as he gets to his intended target, so he's forced to put the barrier down and scuttle away. EQO down towards half, and again Sato has to play evasively. He takes to the skies. Atlanta identify a weakness in the lineup of the fusion. They push inside the side room. 2 supports are down. This is perfect for them. Defran, 95 charge. And a Graviton if you were to need it, but Philadelphia just got gutted.
And I think what they realized there is, no, what we saw from Carpe's POV, the grab from Defran, his airmail, that one is, Philly actually is going to come back. They may want that grab back.
Sound barrier now from Atlanta Reign, hastily applied. They realize they may have overstepped themselves somewhat. Sato is down. The self-destruct thrown in the middle. Poco once more. He'll have it. Master's down, but EQO is traded. Carpe moving up to the point now, and somehow Philly have salvaged this. Atlanta run out of steam.
You would have loved to have that grab if you're Atlanta.
How?
Combo with that self.
They lose their Lucio, they lose their Brig. Still able to hang on.
So sometimes it happens there, but I actually like the read early by Atlanta. So they go through the hotel, and they actually realize that Carpe is above them. Dako's just getting beamed down by the Zarya, and they realize, like, oh, we have both the Winston and the D.Va split off here to the right, and Carpe's not going to jump down because then you have him split off all alone. So Carpe kind of rotates around to the window. By the time he gets there, both of his other tanks are dead.
Carpe took a heck of a lot of damage in that early engagement. Neptuno definitely able to step back away. But the Transcendence is now brought into play by the Atlanta Reign. The follow-up, though, not excellent. They're on the point, they're very close, but Philly are still 6 strong. Now they push up. Starter goes down once again. Boombox misses the timing of the Transcendence. He can't keep his main tank up. Now the Graviton. Philly have to invest in this fight. We'll see if it works out, but Poco's caught on a grab himself. EQO has to back up. And now Atlanta probably take a breather here, but they're a little bit disjointed themselves. But they use this to take down Carpe. They find one of the arms of the pincer. It's traded though. Kodak's missing, but Boombox was being down by Erster. And Poco has to go for the self-destruct. Try to make some space for Sato and the rest. And it's just him and EQO. Neptuno playing close. Poco had remeched off to the side, so he takes a fair bit of early damage. And the Reign have position. There has to be a full commitment here from Philly, but they've lost Sato now. They're running out of options.
It was like a 4-on-4 here on the point, but you have the Bran fully charged up. It was 3 tanks and a support for Atlanta against 2 supports and 2 tanks for Philly. Atlanta finally takes point A. That got really scary considering how much progress they made early on. You know, when they used the Duran, probably just kind of like fat-fingered, accidentally used the grab there on the pole.
Well, he was trying to catch Sato in Primal, but Sato had jumped already. Sato was out of there. I mean, very good at playing evasively on that Winston we've seen from Sato. Very good at being aggressive. It's, you know, at least he has both of those things covered.
They'll have all 6 ultimates here for Atlanta in this next fight, which is good. This is a very difficult part of the map to push through in this type of meta.
Yeah, we're having a lot of them used here as well. Transcendence, Graviton also out from Atlanta Reign. Philadelphia also investing in kind, but getting nothing for it. Atlanta. That's what we call ROI, ladies and gentlemen. They have a sound barrier, Earth Shatter, self-destruct to bring into the next engagement.
And there's a good chance you can get a pretty good shatter off. So you don't really need the Graviton Surge to combo with the self-destruct. Like you see from Pokemon's POV, where the Philadelphia Fusion are going to have to come through. It's just like a narrow chokeway. So you think, you know, you can get Sato a little low, put the shield down, maybe get a boot, knock him out of the way. Or you can get that counter shatter, right? How many times have we seen the grabs come down and then a shatter come down inside of it?
Bishop pretty good at counter shatters himself. That's the shatter. It's mostly blocked. Those sound barrier for both teams here, but Neptuno was a little bit low. Poco really pushing here at the front line, and in that right corner you can see Massa just trying to stay alive now with the Graviton Surge brought in. Poco again, self-destruct in over the top. It yields results. Dako is missing Defran. Cut down by Carpe, close quarters. And the Fusion again have to feel good about this match. Look what they come out of this fight with.
Yeah, you know, Atlanta has to know when they use those 3 ultimates, when they use the sound barrier, the Earth Shatter, and the self-destruct, that is a not winnable fight. To go to the opposite of what we just showed with our insight power right now. They have to know it's not winnable because Philly uses nothing in the previous fight. They had some ultimates, so you come into the last 50 seconds here, you have a few options. Atlanta, that you have the Graviton Surge and the Transcendence coming online. You can extend this fight, or you can go quick, try and bait an ultimate or 2 out and come back stockpiled.
All eyes on Sato right now. He does have an Earth Shatter waiting. He'll need to be quick though. Kodak's getting close to the Transcendence and he lays it down. Beautiful. Defran is on the ground. So is Erster. And Poco comes in for the cleanup. Great coordination between the tanks of the Philadelphia Fusion. Atlanta, you can't blame them for that one. They get caught up in the mess. The Graviton Surge from Defran, unfortunately, doesn't give them what they need to get that fight going.
You will be able to get potentially back to the card. You need Dako to stay alive. He's probably going to be the one that needs to touch here.
Poco's too afraid to really commit to that one either. It's just, the stakes are
get
very high.
It's not worth, yeah.
5 seconds left. Atlanta need to get to the payload to keep this round going. Philly staunchly defending it now. Erster goes in for the shield bash, but it looked like he didn't connect. Or Sato was protected. Poco's down to half, and that's dangerous. It's forcing out the Transcendence now from Atlanta. They need to go forward. They need to find some momentum, but another grab comes in. Up to the sky goes the mech. Straight on down, and it's 3! Just what the doctor ordered, and Atlanta are cut down to size by half. Poco will pursue the D-Mech. D.Va and Dako has nowhere to go. Philadelphia Fusion shut the door. staunchly defending in that second stage. They've got to be happy with that one, but there's much more to come. Philly will move on to the attacking side when we return from a short break. Doesn't matter what season or stage it is, Poco refuses to exit the conversation for one of the most prolific and effective D.Va players in the league, Matt.
Yeah, you know, in that match, when you take a look at this replay towards the end, you know, when you look at Dako and Poco, his damage blocked, so you know the damage being eaten by the defense matrix at 8,500 compared to Dako's 5,300. Poco just eating a ton more damage. That allows Sado to be a little bit more aggressive. They're able to just push, and we talk about aggression, you know, being the team that engages first. So important in this type of meta.
Fusion happy with that half, but it's far from done. They need to now improve on the mileage that Atlanta were able to chalk up. It's one checkpoint, or an extra 97.49 meters. That's in-game, of course. Pushing up very quickly around a statue here, using that Reinhardt shield, so it's not going to be the Winston in the 3-3 setup. They really want to get up close without taking too much poke damage. Something Poco's been very good at mitigating himself. But that shield for Sado's getting low. It's time to go. Massa gets taken down by Neptuno. And it's a start for the Fusion, but they're not willing to fully commit just yet. The Rain have split themselves off, and EQO recognizes that straight away. He goes straight on in. Poco is down. Clinically picked apart was the Rain's defense here. Very nice from Philly.
Yeah, really patient there from Philadelphia. You know, they get that first pick, and instead of pushing in right away, they're all pretty weak. They get chunked down on the point. They heal up. They see what Atlanta decides to do, and they pick a direction. EQO and Poco flying right to the right side, taking those two players that were a little bit split off, eliminating them. They're working their way back to the point.
EQO redeems himself. That was also how, you know, he got picked off by that stray self-destruct on the map in Nepal. But really well identified. Hey, there's players here. They're split. It's a Reinhardt and a Brigitte. Let's just go for them. As a result, this is the reward that Philadelphia reap. Boombox is right on top of that Transcendence. Philly, they're in a great spot in terms of ultimate economy. Sado wants to just charge up his Earth Shatter, and he gets a bubble to do just that. This could be quite nasty. He sees the Transcendence though, and he backs off just a little bit. As Atlanta filter into the right side room, Boombox wants to chase. Pokpo's caught out though. That was a double stun. Massa was also down, but it doesn't matter. He gets back to his feet and gives it as good as he gets.
I feel like every time we go on with DeFran, he is high energy. I mean, you know, Atlanta losing some of these fights, but he's building up that energy quite quick when we get on with him. Is him and Carpe about even in average energy right now, but Zarya is your main damage hero in this type of composition, right? I mean, both players leading their teams by a wide margin in terms of damage done.
And DeFran said Carpe was the one who was most looking forward to going head-to-head with. There's a lot of weight on this particular matchup for the young Dane. There's a Graviton surge here for Carpe, so the Rain probably about to feel it. Earth Shatter here. I think really claimed by that one. Pokpo doesn't quite connect. Carpe wants to push forward Soundberry, making them a lot more durable. And Defran is taken down by the whip shot over the top. Self-destruct. Nothing gained from that. Asado is quickly bashed by Erster, given the bubble immediately though by Carpe. And Philly were able to push forward without having to use the Graviton Surge. That's the perfect result from them in this fight.
We saw it a little bit, you know, when we were on the POV of the Philadelphia Fusion, when they get Pokpo low and they force him to that right side. At that point, it forces players from Atlanta who are around the corner to the left to come around because they have to try and help him in some capacity. And, you know, the main tank for Atlanta ends up staying alive, but everybody else drops because he's all the way up to the left.
We're right on the brink here, Philly. So close to their goal, and Atlanta have to give everything they've got to stay in this map right now. That's the Earthshatter. Sato, though, kind of gets cut off. It doesn't matter. The rain, mouths agape, looking on like stunned mullets as the payload gets home. And the Fusion will breathe a sigh of relief because that last fight was much easier than they feared it would be. We got ourselves a tied series, ladies and gentlemen. Do not change the channel.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. High ground or low ground, T-Mobile has you covered.
What's up, guys? Malik here, back at it again. And I want to make sure those of you at home go get your Twitch All Access Pass for 2019. Now, just like last year, there's a ton of great stuff that you won't want to miss. You'll get access to the command center that lets you watch from any player POV during every match. It also comes with 200 Overwatch League tokens, so you can rep your favorite teams in the game. And you'll also get 20% off any new merch on the Gear Store website. And the best part, it's all only 15 bucks. Thing basically pays for itself. So just head on over to twitch.tv/Overwatch League and get your 2019 All Access Pass today. Welcome back, everybody. You know it is Overwatch League time when you see a Poco Bomb. That's right, pretty much a staple in the Philadelphia Fusion's games is Poco Bombs. Welcome back, everybody. Malik here. I got Zoe. I got Monte Cristo here. We're getting ready to break down that first half in this electrifying match between the Philadelphia Fusion and the Atlanta Reign. Guys, has it lived up to your expectations so far? It's been pretty hype.
It actually did. I'm super excited. I knew it's going to be a close one, and that's exactly what we're getting.
Yeah, it's closer than I thought, honestly. I mean, Atlanta did look clean against Florida, but Florida sort of rolled over and died in their match, so I didn't really know how good Atlanta was, but they're impressing me.
Impressive indeed. All right, so let's go ahead and jump straight into the highlights because there's been some stuff to unpack here. First off, Nepal. Oh my goodness, man. It was just so surgical from the start to the finish.
Yeah, it's really interesting too because the Atlanta Reign are showing us some different looks, but you know, also we were talking before the match how much of an impact Boombox is going to be having in this, and I know that it was one of Zoe's keys to the game, but you know, he's actually at the bottom of the league out of all Zenyatta's in healing per trance right now, and he can't really seem to use his ultimate effectively.
No, he really didn't. Kodak completely outplayed him. I think the average Transcendence healing Kodak was more than half as much than what we actually seen from Boombox. So it looks like Atlanta took him out of the equation, and successfully so.
Indeed. And what about the double snipers that we also saw there too?
I mean, I'm really excited about this double sniper composition because Atlanta Reign did something a little bit unusual, which they also did on Volskaya yesterday, which was to play with 3 DPS players, but have Erster on the Diva. And I think that means there's probably a triple DPS look that we didn't see them run on Nepal, but it does give them flexibility on control to be able to do that. And Erster's Diva was actually pretty decent.
Right. And at Philadelphia Fusion, they were down 0-1, able to bring things back here at Kings Road. What exactly did they do to secure this map?
I mean, the end here, I think, was kind of questionable from the Atlanta Reign. Looked like they should have been able to at least, get one final fight in there with the help of that Transcendence, but they just couldn't get to the point in time.
It was also a huge comeback from Pokebombs, and hit him left and right. He once more showed why that is a thing in the league,
right.
And we hope he continues in the second half.
Right, now let's go ahead and take one more look at that sniper battle, because that was definitely one of the big moments in that first map at Nepal. We had Inlayer, we had DeFran, and we had them going up against Carpe and EQO. This is pretty much a dream match right there.
I'm not sure it was a dream match for Endlayer necessarily, because he did at least lose the sniper battle, but that didn't stop Atlanta Reign from actually doing relatively well overall. It did go to the very end of that point before we actually saw a victory, and I think it's cool that they have these mix-ups that they can do in terms of their team compositions using these DPS players.
And I have to say, Carpe once again showed how clutch he can get. He was the only reason why they actually managed to get that map in the end, and that's something he's been doing throughout the entirety of Season 1, so Fusion will be in a bad place without him.
You're right about this. I agree with you. I agree with you on that. Well, guys, I don't know about you, but I'm ready to get back into this match. So, guys, stay tuned. We got a lot more action here at the Overwatch League coming up right after the break.
They don't just play for a team. They play for every fan, every rival, every moment, every match. And when everyone watching expects the best, they perform with the best.
Welcome back, nerds, to the Overwatch League. 2 maps out of the way, but Kings Row was quite the stoush. How important was the Zarya play on that map? We saw so many impactful gravitons to set up on the combo.
I mean, Zarya in this meta in general is just so important. Kings Row has been always a fantastic map for Zarya. We saw 2 of the better ones go at it, and you can see how much hero damage both these players put down, near the top or at the top of their teams. But Zarya is such a difficult, but also fun hero to play in terms of, the ultimate Graviton Surge, so impactful. You can get everybody in that tight gripped area. You can combo with a ton of, other ultimates. But you also, on top of the mechanical skill and the tracking that you need to almost see the game a few seconds before, because you need to know when to throw those bubbles on players, because if you don't put down a good bubble, you don't get any damage done on that bubble. You don't create energy. If you don't have any energy, you don't do any damage. You don't do any damage, you're just a waste of space out there on the field.
A great way of thinking of it, as Zarya, everything you do outside of your primary fire relies on a teammate, whether it's positioning or otherwise. Dogman's in, baby, let's go. Coming up, of course, for the Academy team here. They debated us on Twitter, sort of implying that he'd been dropped. And Dogman has been around the scene for a long time. He tried his hand as casting it well, as well. I've seen him do some of that, but now he's back, obviously, and be in that flex support seat.
I mean, a player, he's, trying some casting, he had a podcast, I used to watch that.
That was a great podcast, I enjoyed that. Also, very quick, before we jump in, big shout out to all my friends from Northeastern University, winners of the Boston Uprising Collegiate Cup. Go Huskies. Thanks for being here, guys. they obviously won that tournament and actually came here as their prize. So shout out to those guys. Love me some collegiate Overwatch.
It's a pretty solid prize.
Yeah, well, I think so. Here we go. Volskaya Industries.
Waiting for Philly to switch. These Symmetra on Neptuno. Don't know if that'll be a thing. Don't think it will, but you never know. As we have seen Symmetra get some play in Season 2.
Atlanta not showing anything real crazy. Carpe on the Sombra is definitely a possibility. Neptuno not going to come out on the Symmetra. All right, very well behaved from Philadelphia, which is consistent with what we observed from them when they went up against London. See what they bring to the fray here, though. Again, it'll be slow movement through, trying to get some control of this high ground. I love that response from Massa straight away, saying, nope, you're not getting up here.
And you know, because Sato actually gets booped down, they use the bubble like we were talking about in that graphic, and there's no damage being put down on it because Sato ends up on the ground. So that's a one way you can deny Zarya some charge, some energy.
By running away?
Well, I mean, they force Sato down, and he doesn't run away by himself.
This Dogman really just trying to put as much between him and the Fusion as possible, and sort of appear in line of sight and let go a volley of orbs. Fusion's still a bit unsure about how they enter this fight. Like, where's the weak point? What can we exploit here? Dogman is playing off to the side on his own. You can see that Masa's sticking very close to him.
You want to keep that set alive, and they get him. And they actually rotate around Atlanta because they didn't want to play over where that mega health pack is, because with the Winston for Philadelphia, you could have closed the gap really quick, forced them up to the staircase, really tough position. They try and wrap around and then maybe use the staircase in that high ground to protect the Zenyatta. Doesn't work out for Atlanta.
I mean, that's probably the most pacifistic, take on point A I've ever seen. They just waited until Atlanta were out of position. This is a trait that I actually used to observe from a lot of Finnish Overwatch teams, early on in the game's existence. They just waited until Atlanta split themselves, essentially.
It's a pretty fast time there for Philadelphia to take our first point here on Volskaya. 6 minutes plus to take point B. But they have the opportunity to finish here with a lot of time left in the bank, as Volskaya could be a map that could go pretty long. We see some high score lines here on this map.
It's where it all went wrong for Philadelphia in the grand finals of our inaugural season last year. A 1-for-1 trade early. Sato was hoping to get a little bit more value with this Primal Rage by knocking people in the opposite direction, but he's got no choice now but to turn this into a bit of a mess off towards the side. With the Transcendence brought out from Dogman, he says, okay, it's enough for us.
Philly's fine backing out here. Poco drops. You have Boombox fall as well. As they try and get Carpe back. He has the grab here. Doing a nice job in terms of energy. The average energy is sitting at 54 compared to Defran's 8. Defran doesn't really have a long fight there first, where Carpe stays alive the entire time, wins that. So it's one of the reasons kind of heavily over towards Carpe. But you see the Zarya glowing a little bit. When they glow, that means they got that high energy.
It's like the same as you're told when you're out in Australia. If anything glows, just don't touch it. It's going to hurt you.
I've been to Australia 3 or 4 times. I've never heard anybody say that.
Because you don't leave the house.
Well,
go up in the front.
I would need to get there, but it's kind of the logic you typically use, so I get it.
Sound barrier here for both sides. Another team really wants to engage. You'll see, you'll know that Philly want to get aggressive right now. When the rally gets used, they're going to come forward to Frank quickly. Let's go with that Graviton Surge, and it will be a self-destructive combo with it. It won't really be necessary, though. It finds EQO, but Sato and Neptuno had already been felled. Atlanta Reigns secure themselves a pretty efficient cleanup in that fight.
And Atlanta needs to use some of these ultimates. You can't let Philly, be the aggressor, use the ultimates, take the point, because like we mentioned before, taking point 2 here, point B, and still having like 3 minutes in the bank, that's great for Philadelphia. So Atlanta needs to secure a lot of these fights rather easily, use some of those ultimates a little bit more freely, as now we'll see Carpe Inco coming back. He's still got this energy from the second fight. Still sitting at near 70%.
Oh, I love that. The 180 straight into the Graviton Surge. Atlanta wasn't ready for that one at all. Pokemon tried to give himself and his team a bit of an umbrella, and it pays off, but it doesn't protect him from the Earth Shatter. Defran's down. He was discorded before he even hit the ground. The rest is elementary, my dear Watson. Fusion with the positioning on the point, man. They are looking very good now. Hiding in the back is Darko, so he might try and stall. He's actually sitting to the bottom right of your screen currently. He flies in just to keep this one going, stunned up pretty quickly. Good idea from him. And a sound barrier on a mini div might not seem like much, but it is keeping the Rain in charge at this point.
Yeah, he connects with a few other players as well, as here comes Carpe back on Reaper. Reaper just shredding through tanks. Obviously the lifesteal able to give himself health back as he puts down damage. You see the health not really going below max here.
Whoever knew that Edgelord could look so good. Massa knocked up against the wall. Couldn't get away from that self-destruct, and Philly eventually get their prize. 2 points captured for them now, and it'll be up to Atlanta to see if they can match that one. Philly will try and put up the defense and get themselves their third map here. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back. It is Philadelphia versus Atlanta, and we are in the middle of Volskaya here as Philly managed to finish. Matt, there's been so many fights over this series, actually, even this map in particular, but they haven't really been scrappy or messy. It seems like they've been very short.
Yeah, you know, talking during the break, it's like usually with this triple tank, triple support composition, you see these fights really get drawn out. But I think both of these teams are so disciplined and so good and have a great understanding of the ultimate economy that nobody's really wasting or forcing a lot of fights. We see in this series more than any, and I think I've commentated this far, is both teams' willingness to back out of fights and concede fights, not give ult charge to the other team, understanding how important those ultimates are.
It was said by many pundits that the 3-3 play was not very clean over the last few days of the Overwatch League. Perhaps the screws are being tightened just a little bit more as Philly and Atlanta both ease into what we consider to be the current meta. Cool, nice little boop off the high ground there. Lovely work there by Darko just to unseat a few of those Fusion players. Again, he's just gone up there. I mean, motion sickness people probably should look away from the screen, but Philly really trying to control the high ground as best as they possibly can. And those players that are on the ground are being very careful. Carpe isolated, picked off.
It's a really nice play from Darko and Dogman. Dogman lands the Discord on Carpe. They get him pretty low and they force him back by the health pack, and Darko just flies right in. Ends up giving up this mech in the end, but totally worth it. And we talked about how impactful Zari is, the leading damage dealer in a lot of these teams. You get the other team Zari out early. So there goes even the more important than the damage is almost the bubble, right?
Yep. It only took them 70 seconds, Matt, to capture point A. And again, I bring back to the topic we brought this half back in on, saying the fights here seem to be so decisive that, you know, you very much have an idea of the team that's going to win it almost before it begins.
Yeah, I mean, you save and back out to fight another day. Atlanta, they probably know they have a slight advantage in terms of ultimates here. Let's see how they decide to use it. Rally early, they're going to try and protect Dogman as Sato is jumping right on top of him.
Yeah, Sato's actually trying to wrap around a little bit, but he's taking a lot of damage in the grab. Beautiful! He baited them into the trap. Sato's now missing. Philadelphia have to go alone with the spy players. Oh, Carpe! The grab was eaten by Darko, and that's how the Fusion were going to get out of jail, but now it looks like a solitary confinement. Atlanta, with all their players up on the point, and Sato has to commit to this one with a Primal Rage. Maybe he can mitigate the effects of the Transcendence being used by Dogman, but there's really very little he can do. The self-destruct claims EQO and a large chunk of Sato's health in Primal Rage, and now it's time for the Sound Barrier from Neptuno. He's huddling with Carpe up on the high ground. They're a little bit too afraid to commit, but Boombox gets an important pick. Ursula goes down from long range. The young Brit manages to find a very crucial target. But again, it's going to be tough with this Graviton Surge. Sato tries to pop right in with a pile driver, and Massa now is down. It's a war of attrition. Philadelphia slowly clawing their way back into this one.
Good old EQO Reinhardt here coming out of the end, just trying to get on the point and swing, but no, Sato on Wrecking Ball, such a difficult target to take out. Wrecking Ball so mobile, self-sustain. Philadelphia holds barely.
Those picks, those little picks, right, we saw from Neptuno and Boombox managing to just, like fire a volley of, orbs down the way, picking off a Brigitte or something similar. That's how you get back into these fights. You spawn much closer. You can trickle your players out, in ones and twos and keep the point contested. Whereas the attackers, when they lose a player, it is a long walk back. But Defran, though, has yet another Graviton Surge. He's been building these very quickly. And again, Atlanta will be leaning into that one to try and take the point back. They've got all their impactful ultimates. Philly a little bit low on them. Now Defran's going to push them away. Look at this, straight into the choke. Transcendence has to be used here by the Fusion. It's the only way they stay alive in this fight. Earthshatter knocks Sato down, but they can't find a kill off the back of it. It's just Neptuno off to the side, taken down by Dogman. And with a self-destruct in the middle, that was supposed to help relieve the pressure for the Fusion. It was only Massa to fall for it here. And the Fusion need to find a couple more picks in over this point. It's gonna be tough. Boombox down at half health. Sato knocked up towards the side, forced to try and charge across the point. He lays it down. And Neptuno really can only sit there and watch the Atlanta Reign blistering pace. And they lead in time bank after that attack.
This has been such a sick series this far, man. The Dogman, the substitution coming in here playing Zen for Atlanta. They're really making an impact. The damage between him and Boombox is about even. But, the Transcendence healing. Dogman sitting at 4,300. 3K for Boombox, and Dogman getting it about 10% faster. 10% doesn't seem like a whole lot, but in the course of the game of Overwatch, the 10 seconds could be the difference between winning and losing.
In dog years, Matt, that's a lot.
I set you up for that one. You just knocked it out of the park.
3 minutes and 26 seconds. That's what Philadelphia Fusion have on their time bank, Matt. So it's a little less. Not distinctly so. Here's Defran pushing in.
Yeah, so check this out. So Defran's trying to look, and he sees Pogo out to the left, knows there's no chance of that getting eaten, and then he tries to pop his own bubble during this to potentially block off the Transcendence healing. Transcendence works on line of sight. You can block it with the Zarya bubble. That's where you see some heads-up play from both of these Zaryas. That was a pretty sick play.
We've also seen players, Zenyatta players, in the middle of using Transcendence, blocking self-destruct damage onto their teammates, right? We saw some of that yesterday in Navani. So there's tons of techie little things that you can do with line of sight in this game. And a lot of these players at this level are going to be looking to exploit those to get the best results or the most bang for their buck out of their ultimates. Here we go, Philadelphia Fusion out the door. And they know they've got to be pretty expedient once again at capturing point A.
And something as little as that, like as Zarya walking in with a bubble, blocking is the difference between like maybe somebody dying into a self-destruct or not.
Or it's stopping your teammates from getting shackled as well.
Exactly.
Philly again. Probably look to try and pull apart Atlanta in a very similar fashion. Sato up to the high ground, quickly denies that away. Atlanta wait for the bubble to disappear from the Winston before, making their own foray back to the high ground. But this high ground with Carpe, EQ, and Boombox is going to be hard for Atlanta.
Atlanta playing this the exact opposite way they played it the last time. They didn't want to play from this mega health pack room. They tried to wrap around the previous time on defense. This time, they want to see maybe if you could take advantage of Sato diving in, get a bash, a Discord, take him out pretty quick.
Well, this time, Philly don't have an easy target to pick off. They don't have a Dogman or someone who's isolated. And Sato seems to actually be the one facing that issue. Now he has to back right up. Look at his health. Just now being healed into a position where he can continue to fight. Philly are at a decent spot, but they're not actually applying point pressure until just now with EQO stepping on. This is looking much like King's Row. They're looking to force Atlanta into a mistake. EQO has the shield bash out. He got a little bit too close for comfort there.
Yeah, they almost got Sato that first time. Able to stay alive so long. Some great Winston play. You see the movement just phenomenal. He is the target that Atlanta is trying to take down. They're just not able to do it.
And these Discord orbs are being followed up so well. All three tanks went down with Boombox's Discord orb. That's how they managed to find that pick on Defran, where it didn't actually appear like there was any single player completely out of position. A lot of extra damage there in a Fusion as a result. It's a more drawn out fight. They get those ultimates up. There is potential here, Matt, for a snowball situation with Philadelphia leaning into their lead in ultimate economy to finish the map as quickly as possible.
I think what Philly could do is like a speed boost and rally here, maybe kind of put some damage down onto Pokepo, force that Transcendence out. Then at the later half that Transcendence, you see the Graviton Surge come.
Sato Primarates could be nasty! Buster's off the edge and Sato, oh no! You are not going anywhere, Dogman! Get back in the kettle!
Well, that's denying Transcendence healing from some of his teammates. It's just Philly hasn't made progress on the point. Now the grab comes out.
They did manage to nullify most of that Transcendence, which is crucial. Poco down, Ducko also missing the self-destruct from Poco, posthumously yielding himself a kill. Off towards the side is Carpe, and like you said, when Zarya's glowing, she's out there to do some work. Sato blocking that spawn exit, and now just that little aperture preventing Atlanta from streaming onto the point the way they'd like to. Sato does go down in the ensuing firefight, but the Transcendence here means Philly can just ease into the rest of this fight. Pressure Ducko down with the Discord Orb, and Boombox, he's in the hot seat. He's in the perfect spot right now, just to wreck the Atlanta Reign. But Poco might have other ideas. The Earth Shatter comes in and he claims EQO. He's looking healthy. Carpe's kind of caught out on his own here. Defran gives himself a barrier. Carpe has to back away on the left-hand side. He's going to struggle to escape from this one. Defran pushes forward, and somehow the Atlanta Reign have managed to turn this one around.
Oh, they come back, you know, Poco switches over to Wrecking Ball, try and get back. When they lose Sato, you don't really have a big bubble to block a Shatter, and Pogba walks onto the point, hits a huge Shatter. Carpe kind of forced all the way to wrap around to the high ground. They're not able to get any use of that Zarya. Oh man, what a hold there from Atlanta. Now only 30 seconds for Philly.
So much time lost in that fight. Not unlike me, the Fusion probably thought they were on easy street after that Transcendence came up. Beautiful Earth Shatter for Poco, and sometimes, like I said, just the one kill that you need. This is very aggressive for Sato. He's gone straight into the back line, immediately going for the Primal Rage. Carpe will wait this one out, see if they can get Ducko D-Mech to avoid him with the Graviton Surge. That 3 players caught up in it. Sato's in the mix now as well. The Jungle Gym is here. Ducko gets de-suited, and it's just Poco on the point. Philadelphia Fusion pushed through after what would have been such a frustrating previous fight. But they get there, though, one way or another.
And really, for Atlanta, it comes down to losing Dogman there early. He had that Transcendence. We talked about, you know, how much more effective he's been with the Transcendence ultimate of Zenyatta than opposed to Boombox on the other side. And he drops there. As soon as he drops, that's when the grab comes out from Carpe.
Those final moments here. This is that last little push. I see you there, Dogman. Push straight in towards him.
Ooh, the Discord, the bash, and then the whip shot.
Again, Dogman doesn't want to play with the rest of his team because he doesn't want to be subject to getting dived on by Sato. He's going to try and hide away. Then appear when, you know, the rocket jump is going to be on cooldown. But he still has to play on his own. At an alternate angle, a peripheral angle, if you will. And again, if you notice him, EQO knew straight away he had to go.
So we'll see what Atlanta decides to do on offense. You know, I think what they have right now is probably what they're going to run out on. I mean, they could switch everything, right, and run like a quad DPS, triple DPS, but they've been pretty consistent, you know, running the Reinhardt version of this triple tank, triple support. On defense, Sato's still staying with the Winston, so you know, I think on defense you could run either or. Winston obviously very strong to get to the high ground in a lot of situations. A lot of escape routes for Winston here on Volskaya to break line of sight from the opposing team and, you know, get around some of these corners, get healed back up.
Yeah, just be a persistent nuisance is probably what he's looking to do. The Reign come out with a Reinhardt-based 3-3. So generally, this is considered to be stronger. There's a little bit more damage output there. Poco actually has burst damage, something that Sato doesn't have available to him. Takes a lot of damage early to Sato. He's forced to just pretty much head vertically straight up. Dogman is low. All the damage coming from Boombox on the high ground. They get him! Carpe follows up. You can see the pressure point that Philly are trying to aim for here on the Atlanta. And now they're boxed into this little room. And they're missing their Zen.
I think you have Poco playing in this position. He knows the Zen needs to come back. So Atlanta's got an option. You know, you either let Dogman fight out one-on-one against the enemy Diva, or you go back, you try and get him through. So you see they kind of moved in this choke here. That's going to allow Sato to put down some damage as they walk through. It gets healed up. So Atlanta starts their next push. Oh!
There it is again!
Oh, no.
Oh. Well, the Fusion definitely trying to isolate the Zenyatta or Dogman here, and the Reign are going to great lengths to shepherd the Zenyatta into the point with them. But again, it's quite a distance to cross. Now this puts extra pressure on Atlanta. Say they may have to play slower. Maybe the tanks are going to be always looking over to the shoulder to make sure the Zenyatta is there and he's protected. The Dogman on your screen there is, again, this is not aggressive positioning from him. He's just being picked off by Philly, who are looking for him actively.
Philly's got grab to use here. You know, you're walking towards some of these chokes. Carpe could hit it towards the wall, which he does, and everybody's caught inside of it.
That's a lot of energy. Oh, that's filthy. Sato there as well with multiple melee kills and that roiling massive body. So again, pause for thought for the Reign. They probably knew they'd struggle a little bit, having sort of lost the first fight, losing Dogman. They knew they'd be behind an ultimate.
And I want to give some props to Sato. You know, it's a lot tougher, I think, to run this comp because the Winston, if you go in and the bubble's wrong and your own bubble is wrong, you know, the bubble coming from Zarya and then your own, you could easily just get stunned, Discord, and taken out with ease. He's done a great job of staying alive. Only 6 deaths to the entire map.
Atlanta have assumed the tortoise formation. Really not wanting to move, and Dogman's been spotted, so Sato definitely has caught his scent. And there's a primer rage available, so Sato, if he wants to start displacing some of these frontliners, he's going to do it. Asta, though, gets caught. That's a big fist to cop to the jaw, and unfortunately, he's not getting up from that one. Poco! Very clever from Poco there, just to try and stay up. The charge was damaged there, but it was a primer rage Winston, Matt. Yeah.
And it's tough for Atlanta because obviously you've wasted a ton of time getting stuck at the choke. You know, DeFran's built this grab. You haven't had an opportunity to even use it. Carpe's probably going to end up with another one. I mean, you've already seen them use one. You're going to get that second one and be able to use it before Atlanta gets a good use of their first.
1 minute 17 left, and Atlanta need both point A and point B to stay in this map. The Rain tentatively now move forward onto the point, but Boombox is the high ground and he drops in. As soon as the Graviton Surge was used, he knew it was Transcendence time. Darko finds EQO. Again, the Brigitte catching a little bit of the blast, and the sound barrier for the Fusion doesn't really get any value because they're too busy planning on the next move. Carpe's Graviton was eaten up by Darko, and all the options that Philly had to go for have been stripped away from the 1-by-1. Poco forlornly heads for the hills. And the Atlanta Rain managed to capture point A, and again, not a moment too soon. They really had problems getting their coordination in place to take it.
Yeah, Boombox gets weak on the high ground, and he's actually forced to use Transcendence and then drop to the point. That's when Atlanta can land a big sound barrier. They're able to swing things in their favor, and that they know that Darko eating the Graviton Surge is massive. So a little bit under a minute here for Atlanta to work with. They're gonna rally on in.
You know, that's when the fight starts, when you hear the rally sound. Self-destruct, that's one, and it was a big fish indeed. DeFran, hook, line, sinker, back to spawn. And now Massa gets pushed up on the side. Darko over the edge. They'll probably try and stagger that mini out for a little longer. Ooh, Atlanta. They really wanted to get something going there. Sato's setting up now. 24 seconds remain. This has to be a Transcendence used correctly. Dogman cannot get picked off. Pokpo needs to find Sato, find a way to get around that shield. It's go time, Matt.
Carpe's going to play a little bit forward up. You build this grab, you get them off the point. They may not even be able to touch, but he's going to actually back out. A little bit too risky playing up front.
Here we go, EQO drops straight in. Transcendence, immediate answer from Dogman. Places it up on the point. Philly, reluctant to push forward, reluctant to get aggressive, and they wait out their own Transcendence. Now Atlanta don't have the healing available that Philly does. A huge disadvantage for them in this fight. Graviton Surge used, they're all caught together. Big Earth Shatter, Pokpo knocked to the ground, and here's the responding. Oh, it's a big grab from DeFran. Dogman finds Carpe, and it's just Boombox. He has to leave the point for now. Philly have to regroup and find the numbers. Atlanta are down to 4. Just 4 players left for the Rain. Boombox might have been caught, and he is. 75% on the capture as Poco is desuited 1-by-1. Philly are being knocked down. The self-destruct doesn't claim too much, and EQO can't even get to the point. Now the Rain are here in numbers. They're starting to put out the damage. Neptuno is knocked aside. Carpe's trying to work on the periphery. He found Dogman at least, but he needs the rest of his team to be a presence on that point, and they keep getting bowled over. It's in overtime, and here's Carpe back. One last stand. He walks over in on a Wraith form, and EQO returns to the fight as the Tracer. He's going to be knocked away quickly as well. What a match!
DeFran with that Graviton Surge was huge, but then he makes a big brain play. He turns around, and you actually see Poco with the self-destruct towards the end. But DeFran doesn't want him to come back and keep contesting the point. He actually backs out into the alleyway, and he just chases Poco away. He has to go further away, and he's less on health, so you can't extend the point for that longer, and he's not even able to throw the self-destruct on the point, clear them off of it because he's so low. It's just that little extra damage that he goes back and puts on him that really prevents Poco from extending that, allowing Philadelphia to get some more players back on the point.
There's a real chance that this could result in a draw on this map. Both teams now have 1 minute, just 1 minute, to get as far as they can through the map. And yes, that would be extended by overtime if they're on a point. If that is the case, it'll still be 1-1 in the series, and the next map would be the decider regardless. Very close Volskaya. Similar play from both these two teams. I really feel that these guys are very calculated. especially the Fusion, really trying to pull the Atlanta Reign apart, but Dogman coming into this roster here has looked good in general. It's been tough. He's been getting caught out a fair bit, but it's not always been his fault.
I tell you what, though, I mean, regardless of win or loss, I think Atlanta's proved that they can contend with the top. You know, they get that win the other day against Florida, and everyone's kind of like, let's see what they can do. So, Philly was in our grand final last year, and they're taking it to them.
But one way or another, there's a lot sitting on this map in the next few moments. So Poco's just sitting around the corner there. He's trying to keep tabs on Atlanta, but they know they need to push forward fairly quickly. The more damage they do, the quicker they get those ultimates, the quicker they can make a decisive play to claim the point. Dogman's trying to stay safe right now, and his opposite number, Boombox, is on that high ground. Massa gets caught. That's not good at all. They need that Lucio so badly. Barry was used onto his Pokpo now, and he only has his shield to stay up. Poco on the drive-by, doesn't mind about the insurance bill. And Carpe drops in over the top. He's not supercharged right now, but the fight's just about to get serious. Dogman is finally felled, and the Philly Fusion repel that first push by Atlanta. Matt, they have 10 seconds to get back to the point. Massa may get staggered if he's not careful. Neptuno was nipping at his heels, but he's not going to be able to get there. There is a mini diva on the point, though. Darko is lying in wait. But he spotted! He doesn't get there. His Hardy around the corner. It was cute. But it doesn't work.
When they lose Massa, they have to try and force anything, right? So they try and get Poco in position to make a play. Darko tries to isolate Boombox.